Well, hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Thank you for tuning in to this special segment of Space 1999. This episode, we are continuing on throughout year two. And of course, we're going to roll this segment into discussions involving all things Kickstarter. We're in the midst of that with our sister project, Return to Moonbase Alpha. And today, I am joined by some very, very special guests and dear friends from across the pond. And I'll bring them on right now and we'll say hello to Darrell and Scotty. How you doing, my friends?
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are you?
Nice to see
Yeah,
you.
great to see you too. Uh,
Wonderful.
Listen, must say before we start, we heard your sad news last weekend, and I know lots of people, not just us, are sending you all their best wishes and thoughts to your family, mate, about your mum. Uh, and well done for carrying on this week like you are. But just wanted you to know I spoke to a few people this week, and the sad news that you got last week, we're all thinking of you, mate, and I know the job you have to do at the moment. So everybody's thinking of you. Okay, Bob. So our thoughts to all your family and yourself. Okay, Bob.
Thank you.
So
Thank you so
yeah,
much. I really appreciate your kind words and support from everybody out there this week. Of course, um, yeah, we had to make some announcements, and we actually lost my mom about a week ago, last Friday, and it's been a whirlwind of a week. And but we have made some posts and announcements, and I just really appreciate, like I said, Darrell and Scott,
yeah.
all the
You
words
know, it's my brother
and
not so long
comments
ago. Yeah,
from people all over the world
I know you'll be all over the place, like I said.
yeah,
I still haven't thought about my brother yet properly. I haven't had my feet on touch the floor, so I know where you're
yeah,
coming from, buddy. But
yeah.
just to let you know, we're all wishing you all the best.
Well,
And
thank you,
thanks
and
for
it's
both.
just to do. I mean, it's we've had a good week overall. I just want everybody to know that everybody in my family is
Yeah,
doing
it's been a busy all week, hasn't it?
exceptionally
It's been
well.
a busy one.
And I was just going to say, and working with this whole thing do with the Kickstarter has sort of kept my mind occupied. So it's been therapeutic on that level as well. Just to be working on things.
I
So
know.
yeah,
I
but
mean, what a lot don't know is, we had plenty of conversations because people know I used to run ASA shows and things like that. A lot don't know actually because I didn't make a thing of it. We just got the stuff out there and, Space and Jerry and Sylvia, or, you know, God, and basically that's what we used to do. Uh, so yeah, I offered my services to London, and it turned out to be a terrific show, and this one as well in Manchester. You sort of listen to me, and you're coming up to the rain. So you know, seriously, I mean, we used to do ASA shows; they were all over. But I did notice one thing in London that a lot of Manchester didn't get down. Uh, and I'll be honest with you, a lot up here. Yes, I did Eagle Six shows in Scarborough and things like that with the guys and Dave Sis and Simon and people and Andrew, Jim. Uh, but my side of the country, central country, Birmingham, Manchester, even over to Wales, that we haven't really had a lot of it in the past. But what has happened is that media cities now come to Manchester on our local news, going all the reports. Uh, they often, very often, still mention the programs and the series in one way or another. So I've good feelings about this show. And the guys, we talked to a lot of the guys. Uh, that everybody knows we're all still that family. Uh, and everybody's showing wonderful support again. And I've offered to look at model room this time, so you know as well as I do. With the emphasis this time is on original items and bringing them to the fore. Alongside the wonderful guests. And then things like me and other people, we sort of back that up, and hopefully everybody has a wonderful time. But just to it's something that always when we set out with ASA and we started, I mean, Chris originally started it, the Eagle meets at his house, Chris T. And then from that, we all used to go to Drake and have a weekend every year. And it was just like seeing family, you know. But the one thing at Drake that crossed my mind, and we did his own auction, and Pentis had come and things like that. And then, but we'd all get a table and we'd all do wonderful things, and wonderful things would appear. And with me being, what I did for 25 years, professional DJ and all the rest of it, it was always like, right, we're ready for everybody coming in, and nobody ever come in. It was just for us, and it seemed a bit odd to me, and it a bit unnatural in a way to me. To be honest, it's just my background. But the flip on that was the guys always fetch wonderful things, and the word is privileged. There's no other word for it. When you get people like Andrew and Jim and David Regal, one when he had it, and Simon and everybody that owns originals, you do feel privileged to be around them, because they are what you see. And we all know they were made at Bay for space and things like that, and Martin Bauer, of course. But when you get to see them in reality, you get so much more out of them. I mean, I'll give you a little, you can class it as a secret. We're not fully sure. You've seen this before, that is the original radar tower from Force of Life on the opening shots. But Jim Winch gifted me that ages ago. And he's really close to me, as Jim. But these are things that comes apart. And we always thought that might have been motorized and whatever. But there is Meccano in there. And we've tended to think that might have been in some way hand turned. So as it revolves,
right,
not necessarily with using an electric motor. There's no electrics in that. There is just Meccano wheels and spars. Yeah. So, just for the job, possibly, and I'll put possibly on it, that might just have been off shot and cranked to give you that steady flow.
I was always wondering about that. Yeah. So there's no mechanics in it. Okay.
No, all there is in there is Meccano parts. You've a center spar, and then if I remember correctly, because it is a while since I've, I only did it once really, because I don't like to play with them. But yeah, it surprised me that might have just been something off camera, and they're feeding it in, and they're just doing a gentle turn, and that's just giving you that flow, So there she is. So yeah, I'll get some. I still keep saying I'm going to put her in a proper case, and
Well, it's funny because I just made a little graphic with a picture of the radar tower that you had set up in London, Darrell, and it looks. You did have a plexi display over top of it, and it's like. It's just so strange. I was just thinking about it, and maybe over the next few months we can talk about this, you and I and everybody who's coming to Manchester. But these pieces are so iconic and so cherished. They look so much better under glass. It's really strange.
50 years later, and I've sort of built models and my own buildings and all that sort of things, and but 50 years later. And we're still, funny enough, I had a conversation with Kit Bevan today. And 50 years later, we still keep learning lots that we don't know. And same with me and Kit when we're looking and watching the shows, There's so much still to see. There's so much in there. There's everything on the shelf. Everything had to be found and whatever, So all these little things still teach us a lot that we don't know. So hopefully it keeps us going for the next 50 years.
There we go. And Chris Trice is actually just joining in and commenting the docking tube coming out of the Eagle passenger pod was handmatic. And hey, Chris, thanks for joining.
Well, I can't read that. I'm on my phone tonight, not on my computer.
That's okay.
So, and I'm not putting my glasses on. I refuse.
I'll read it again. It says the docking tube coming out of the Eagle passenger pod was also handomatic.
Was it really, Chris? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There is a glide, and there's such a naturalness to it sometimes.
Yeah.
And you get that sense, could somebody just have been doing that, because the human eye, the human brain is always working stuff out, isn't it? So I didn't know that, Chris. That's brilliant. Andrew owns that, again, Andrew will come out with wonderful things. I've got that, I've got this, and so will the guys. And you think, I didn't know he had that. I didn't know he had that. So it's just wonderful. But
Yeah.
I still class myself as extremely lucky. Chris fetched me to the party in 2000, 26 years ago. Wow. And it seems like 26 minutes, really.
Yeah, there's lots of
And
history
then
there
we went
going
down
back
to
to the
British, and that was it. I mean,
yeah,
the
those
first time I sat down with Bill, there's a quick picture that went on a few weeks ago, and I don't think I've been there long. You know, Andrew got out of his car with a 1999 helmet on original, you know, and I sat down with Bill, and Chris just come and plunked Voyager in front of us. And it was a bit, okay, this is, yeah. So, all great stuff, all great stuff. Well,
no,
Chris is
wonderful,
a
wonderful.
fountain of knowledge. You know, a lot of the guys are. Again, when ASA came to being, when that started, uh, we'd all been on another site and we sort of all moved together. Uh, Good company.
Yeah.
The people that are doing that are a good company, and if anybody ever looks to ASA, they'll always get a good answer, not
Yeah.
one you're going to
Yeah.
be guessing about. It's
Yeah.
You can virtually take it as read. Whatever answer the guys give you will be somewhere near bob on.
Well,
You know.
and you know it's interesting because we've sort of been teasing the last week or so. You know, nothing specific, but you know we've made up a couple posters for the Kickstarter and for the stretch
Yeah,
goal.
yeah, yeah.
You know, just in regards to, I mean, I love the Blues Brothers, so I made the one that was all about we're getting the gang or we're getting the band back together, right? And
Yeah,
that's
okay, Blues
that's
Brothers. Yeah,
that,
I got that. I sort of got that. I mean, we
yeah,
had, you know, we did gyms last year.
right.
Sorry, 2 years ago. 2 years ago, London, nearly.
I
It's
know. It's hard to believe,
it's incredible.
but it was sort of
Uh,
playing on that idea that, you know, a lot of
yeah,
people since we announced this stretch goal have come out of the woodwork and want to be a part of it, right? Because it's very, very exciting to be able to
it's. I
to
mean, I
commission
know you've
something with
approached people. I know from when we've chatted and you've come up with ideas. And yeah, you know, I said I'd have a word with people and I can have a quiet chat and see if, you know, whatever. Uh, you know, one side to this is you've got to remember that these models aren't filming miniatures as they were built for these days.
no,
These are highly collectibles, extremely
yeah,
lovely rare pieces,
yeah,
you know. Uh, so, you know, whether people go flying down tungsten wires 44 inches anymore, I really doubt that. But to have real props and models offered, and I know there's been one or two, uh, even if they're in stationary shots and whichever way they're placed. Uh, the names that you and I have talked about, uh, if those people are around that and do that, then the models couldn't be in a better place to be looked after and done properly.
yeah,
Uh, and, you know, they're not just uh, jobbing people, they are fans and they know everything they're around. We'll put it that way.
yeah,
So you
yeah.
know, so it's yeah, I'm excited if it comes off, if it really comes off on that. And I know we've been talking about the live action as well, and
Mhm.
I know we've had a couple of discussions the last 2 weeks about that side.
Yeah.
Uh, but if it all comes off, uh, yeah, I really do think it'll be something special, and I really do.
Well,
And again,
and
you know,
yeah, no, and the whole idea is, you know, we really wanted to. I mean, this whole endeavor, you know, all you know, going back to 2023, has always been about doing this for the right reasons, and you know,
yeah.
this is not about a paycheck for anybody involved. This is
No,
this is a passion project. Everybody's essentially donating their time,
uh,
and we wanted to. On top of that, we wanted to give something to the fans, right? Something that's
but
really
the
special. There's there's
one of
been
me,
there's been practical effects goals that have happened before, right? Which is great. I mean, and I'm all about practical effects. I think many of us are, right? But what could we do that would sort of make this a little extra special for the fans out there? And that's simply to incorporate originals, right? And even
listen,
if it's Daryl, even
you
if it's
know,
just the radar tower, like you said, I mean, it would just be
well,
such a treat for the fans.
again, if it's needed and it's in the script, and yes, of course, I'll offer it.
Of
You
course,
know,
yeah, it has to make
if there's
sense,
a
and
purpose
we're,
for
we're
it,
not just yeah,
purpose
we're not
for
going to
it.
shoehorn things in there
But
just for the sake of it.
but
Yeah,
let me just go back 2 or 3 minutes. You
sure.
know, we hang about in Star Wars land and all that, and I'm
Hmm.
not decrying Star Wars land. But again, and to anybody that's not been to a convention for space, it's so different. You go to Star Wars Land, you can queue up for 2 hours. You might want an autograph. You might be giving up 4 hours to get in. All these sort of things. In our world, and in virtually every show we've ever done, and I think there've been queues, but not at the level, they just want to get through the door. But it's so different than anything else because the guests are not right. Okay, move on. Right. Okay, move on. The guests will sit there with you.
Yeah.
They'll chat with you. They're informal. They don't mind really getting personal sometimes.
Yeah.
And they're so open. And then you put on top of that, we have some of the best programs in the world under Anderson, and we really have, and they always have been. Whichever guys, you can go through Stingray up to Scarlet to Thunderbirds to Joe and all the rest, and then you can go through UFO space and live action and all the rest. But at the end of the day, we're very honoured and very lucky because we've had some imagery thrown at us through the years and shows through the years that have been absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
And then this is another side where when Chris fetched me to the party, because I've been on exhibitions, I've been doing other things, but that was more related to my dad. My dad died and Chris invited me down. And I really do feel I've been privileged to get amongst wonderful things. But I class very lucky. I can't put it anywhere else. I'm not near any of the guys. A lot of the guys are close to. I'm sort of out on a limb. But to be talking with the guys, and we've done what we've done over the years, and some of them shows have been breathtaking. What people have fetched to the shows, when you get Eagle Wonder, when you get Martin Bingett Swift, when you get Andrew Regal too, and Jim with Alpha, and all these wonderful things, yes, you can do the Star Wars shows, but I don't think you get that level of originality. I can go to Star Wars shows and there'll be superb replicas and there'll be wonderful costuming, but to have originals on show, even with Andrew and Simon and Jim, the original costumes, all that level, that was so honoured because you go up and you get to see what they're like up close. And the guys and all those, they don't mind in the slightest. It is, please treat them with respect, and that's the word. And when we went out on shows, my job was dead simple. Everything goes out, everything goes back exactly as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And if that happened, then we'd had a good show. But also alongside that, we were meeting up as family. And then I'm not saying the show became secondary, but it just became one big atmosphere.
Well,
so,
and that applies not only to the exhibiting and the vendor side of things of getting the gang back together, if you will, but also the fans in general.
It's lovely when we all see each other.
Absolutely, with the and the celebrities are dear friends. This is such a unique fandom.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
You can be in Star Wars Land, and we have friends from Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
But there's something about Anderson that when they get together, I know Jim's there's UFO coming up event coming quite soon again. He did one last year, I think. Mr. T with him.
Yeah.
That's coming up, and again, Aisha. Jim's made great friends with Aisha. Georgina Moon was lovely, right? And all these things, and it sort of does that. It takes when you get them together, all of a sudden they're all on. Let's enjoy this weekend, and there's no restraints really. Everybody seems to have a great weekend. They're very free to chat with the guests, and the guests will give them time. And all them sorts of things. So,
well, and you know what? I'll give you another example, Darrell.
I think what I'm trying to say is there's nothing like our events. I can't.
Oh, I know.
can't.
They're one of a kind,
can't.
and you know what?
Yeah.
The perfect person who could attest to this is sitting right next to you. I remember you telling me the story that Scotty, when you came to London, like you came from that whole. You're a big Star Wars fan, a big Star Wars cosplayer, and you're used to the larger shows, right? Like the Showmaster events and things like that. When you came to London, 1999, you by the end of the weekend, you were completely hooked, just because of the atmosphere and the loving, welcoming feeling. I think.
It's not that. It's what did me was about London is that you can go to a Star Wars convention and that, and it feels just like a normal show.
Yeah.
But when you go somewhere different, like London, you get to see a lot more of the atmosphere. You get to feel like this is going to be good. I'm not saying that the Star Wars conventions aren't good. I'm just saying that, the London one was real special, and it's like something you don't ever forget. You go to countless shows, but the one at London's one of the, treasured ones.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
you'll always remember the atmosphere that you felt there.
I mean, Scott's, what people might not know, and I've been for a long time, is, I was a full-time carer for 20 odd years. Firstly with Diane, and then sort of Scott came along, quiet baby. We weren't fully aware, yes, his autism side, but we didn't know he had this other thing called fetal anticonvulsant
I was totally shy once. I wasn't like
yes.
this.
No,
I was
no.
totally like down.
So
I wasn't up.
So when he's engaged, it's fine. But about 30 times a day, no, we've got the Empire coming living with us. He'll drift away. He gets overcome.
Yeah, my mind goes a bit.
And there's nothing he can do about it. So, Darth Vader's coming and the Empire's coming. I won't mind, but they don't pay board. Nobody gives me any money for living here. Right. So all these people are coming every day. But the one thing that was so special, and I've never had the chance to take the family around shows because I've always treated it as work. Yeah. And it was a bit same when I was DJing to a sort of thing. But I found it difficult to be able to look to Diane, to look to Scott if we went out on shows, and doing things. Mm-hmm. So London became the first one where I could bring my family to the party. And it was so, for the first time for me, I could let Scotty off the rein a bit. All the guys fell in love. They loved him, same with Nikki. And I knew they were watching over. And that made me more relaxed because it was the first time in about 7.5 years that I've been unglued from him, So and I just said, get a camera, go around the room, enjoy yourself.
Yeah, because that was rare.
And relax and just take your photos and come back and show me. And I'll watch you. I can see you.
Yep.
You just go and have a bit of me time.
It was a bit unusual because usually you wouldn't allow me to find out.
There's one big problem with this because when he came back, he said, Star Wars what?
There we go.
I'm always a Star Wars fan. It's just that this was different level.
There you go.
Very unique.
Star Wars, whatever happened at London was like up there.
Yeah, the enjoyment level, and I want to thank the guys as well for they kept a roaming eye on him as he was just going around the room.
Well, I felt a bit like I was relaxed. I felt like it was a relaxed atmosphere, but usually it's chaotic.
And Nick came over and we took him photos in the cockpit and everything else. And then afterwards I opened Nick off and he asked me about Scotty and wanted to meet him. And that was a special moment there.
That was.
Scotty had his back turned and Nick just tapped him on the shoulder and that's it. That's one he can take with him.
It was like odd. It was like I wouldn't see Nick here. I was seeing Alan Carter stand up to me thinking.
But that's what I'm trying to say.
This is Alan Carter.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say about the guest. It's he.
You're not seeing the actor. You're seeing the guy you've seen before thinking.
It's
wow.
I didn't do that. They did that. The show did that. The show did that so that everybody could be at that level. And I think the word is comfortable.
Yeah.
I think the word is comfortable. Everybody's comfortable in the room, doing what they're doing, getting on with what they're doing, and that sort of thing. And it just turned out to be a superb show. And how the heck you got all them guests saying that's I was still talking to you up to days before. No idea.
Oh yeah,
But
we're adding 3 more people 3 weeks out. We're adding 5 more people 2 weeks out. It just kept growing because
and it
that's
was
what happened is the word really started to get around, and all our celebrity VIPs were like, yeah, I'd love to come. I'd
yeah,
love
yeah,
to
yeah.
take part, and I
So
couldn't say
you
no
know,
to anybody.
I look at this in one sense, and there's two ways of looking at what you're trying to do. Yeah, we return to Alpha.
Yeah.
That you know, I'm a great friend of Kit. I'm a great friend of Andrew. I found out a few weeks back that he did it in his living room with with Sandra Gunn. Uh, and Kit I was speaking to at lunchtime, and they did message to Moonbase Alpha,
Yeah.
which was superb.
Yeah.
Nothing two ways about that. Superb. So is anybody do a remake of that? No, they'd be full for trying. But if what you're trying to do could add to that, I will. For me, for 26 years, I've just thought as long as we keep talking about Anderson, we still have friends, and hopefully with new friends coming along, and that's what it's about. Because you've got to keep that happening. And I still feel that. I still feel we're meeting new people. There's new fans coming on board. People seem to get Space 1999. They pick their favourite season and all that sort of stuff. But it's still something special. And it was at the time, greatest costing show and all that sort of thing we know about.
Yeah.
But it's
Yeah.
just something special. You just look at it and
You can't touch it.
you can't touch it.
No,
You've
and,
got
and
Star Wars, you've got Star Trek, but Space 1999 is the middle.
Yeah.
it's
It's a
it's
real
in a
gem.
world, a class all in it of itself, guys.
Exactly.
And
Still
you know,
sci-fi.
the other thing is that because we've seen other shows and IPs have those remakes and reboots, right? And people have tried with space, it's never worked out. So when you mentioned Message from Moonbase Alpha, Darrell, of course, what the one thing that very early on we all sort of said to ourselves is that our show is probably never going to get remade, but what can we do to honor it? Well, we can continue that story. We can go back to the source material and not have to worry about recasting and all this stuff and
I
reimagining,
think it's
but
like
just a
any
slight
show,
extension to the story. And it tied into Message because of that line that Xenia says, where the moon is going to be coming back. It was 25 years later. It was the perfect pivot point to start up the story once again, right? And create that excitement around going back, right? With that first trailer that Anton did, which was marvelous. That really got the hype train rolling. And I think then, back in 2024, 25, now we're into 26, but people are really starting to really grasp that idea that there could be more stories to tell. Who knows where this will go? I mean, of course, it is a fan film. It's on that level.
When you look at space, as a standalone, I suppose, in many ways, to make it again, to attempt to make it again, I think it'd be very difficult these days.
It would be.
The one thing I've learned,
right down to the title. I mean, that's always been up for debate. Well, what do you title something that was supposed to be 25 years in the future? Now it's 25 years in the past. You can't call it 1999. I've been a model builder
since I was 7 years old. I first started model building.
Yeah.
And all those, and you learn the skills over time and this, that, to other. And the one lesson space has learnt me is it looks easy, but it's not. And no matter what you try to build, and it's you have to chase this, you have to chase that, you have to find out what it is, and you have to do that with a lot of shows, can't you? But there's just something about space. It looks very simple what you see. Yeah. But it really isn't when you come to try and make one. And yeah, we attempted that with set level when we first did Command Center when we were opening things. But it's a lot of it with designer work, like you can't get to attempt to remake it and give it that same look now. And I think that's what I'm trying to get at. I think it'd be difficult because what we picked for space and what was on set and incidentals and whatever, a lot of them pieces in their own right were very special. And it's only now when you try to get them pieces and realize what they were or track them down or obtain them, it's not as easy a job as you think, so again, to remake it now, I think, there'd be a lot of CGI and green screen probably going on, because whether they could attempt to do it physically or not, I don't know.
Yeah.
But then that brings us to what you're doing at Return, and you mentioned about set, and we'll let that. Or we're going to let. Can we put? No, okay, we won't. There's something I'm going to say.
Be careful,
But no,
be careful.
we better run by that as it goes along, because I'm poetic about I've spoken to a lot of the guys, and some of the guys, and the special things come in, and the stuff come in. I know there's something comforting quite big that hasn't been seen since Blackpool. Right, we'll go around that way.
We've still got 11, 12 days of this Kickstarter, and we've got some.
Just going to say, I'm still a supporting artist.
If it's small steps, right? And if we can hit that second stretch goal, we do have a third one just for everybody else out there. And sorry, we will also talk about Catacombs of the Moon here in just a minute.
We're going to get
yeah.
it's like when I come on,
about now.
What do I know about the episodes? You know what I mean?
But we actually do have a third stretch goal that we will announce if we can hit that second one, right? And this is something that unbelievable.
Even I don't know.
Has and it's also it's linked, of course, to Manchester, to the live event, because it will benefit everybody. So it will be a very special dynamic to include in the fan film, but also it's going to benefit everybody who's coming to Manchester. It'll be a real thrill. Trust me. This third stretch goal will be phenomenal. So hey, listen, guys, I'm just going to go through
things appearing at Manchester that it's not going to be all Space 1999.
Well, that's true as well. Is that we are opening up the exhibits to include.
But it was wonderful, and how people have took the Eagle cockpit from London and everything, and what's been happening to us over the last 18 months, 2 years. Wow, it's fantastic. But we sort of insignificant to what's going to be there this time, and what's being planned in the background, and what's hoping to be there. And then there's this extra little edge that encompasses other things, doesn't it? So we'll put it that way. So it's 85-90% space, isn't it? But there's the special things.
There's going to be some other things from other Anderson properties as well, which are always exciting to see. I'm a big UFO fan, no, that's okay. Listen, I'm going to take a couple minutes, guys, and just run through some comments. There's a bunch of people joining us today, and a bunch of new names that I don't recognize. So one of the other names. Yes. Well, you know what? That's one of the things that I've been working on the last few months is building these pages and building the following, right, leading into the Kickstarter, which is why we were so successful. Like, we got our goal within 3 hours, as we know, right? But today is monumental as well, because it was I sort of went on last night for a quick 5-minute little blurb, but I created a new Return to Moonbase off a Facebook page, but in using StreamYard, I couldn't stream to it until today because there was something, but we are actually live streaming today in our brand new page, Return to Moonbase Alpha. So we're probably we've just tripled our viewership. It was some strange little thing where StreamYard.
I'll see you later. Bye.
Well, maybe some of these people out here will know a little bit about Catacombs of the Moon too. But I'll take 2 minutes and I'll just roll through some comments. So David Atchison is out there. Hey, Dave, thanks for joining in. Big supporter. I know Dave's coming to Manchester as well. He's saying, always felt the 1999 cons felt more like a family reunion than a typical con. Cast and crew, fans all getting along. Absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Listen, Diane's out there. Welcome, Diane. I'm not sure if you're a new fan as well, but Diane's been chiming in. And, there's one other thing sort of on the heels of what we were talking about. And Diane and both Simon out there have sort of said, the same thing, and this is in regards to where this could go. The return to Moonbase Alpha, the timing of everything, of course, with that return
Yeah,
to the
the
moon,
Artemis,
the
yeah,
Artemis mission.
it's
You
all
know,
a bit weird, isn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
it's all a bit weird. Yeah.
the synchronicity here is really remarkable, because 50 years ago, this is what space was, in my mind, was an extension of the NASA program, all things Apollo, right? And now we're seeing that play out again in real time. It is really remarkable to think what this could do, this little fan film. And it always will be just that. It'll be a fan film, but it could, you never know, the right person.
There's something a bit weird about that, because I've always looked at all our guys and all the talent and all the people we know, and I know some are in the industry and some are not. I always sat here thinking, if we ever made the fan film, it'd probably won't be the best fan film in the world. It'd probably drink Carlsberg, but I'm not advertising.
Yeah.
Because it just, the elements that are still around in Anderson World, there's lots of wonderful people and lots of wonderful talented people as well. And
Absolutely.
you know, so if they put their mind to it, it does get a bit mind-boggling to think what they could come up with. It's a bit,
Yeah.
So
Simon's out there sort of chiming in. Yeah, Diane, they were both saying, as we go back to the moon for real, its profile will only grow. Plus, there's a real quality to it. Thanks so much, Simon, for your comments. And yeah, of course, we're trying to maintain that very high quality, high caliber. Listen, and I'm going to put it to you like this. One of the things that I've always, in sort of jumping into this project, that I've always had in the back of my mind is something that's for any of the Star Trek fans out there. If you haven't seen a little fan production called Star Trek Continues with Vic Mignogna, and the fellow that played Sulu used to be on Mythbusters, and James Doohan's Scotty's actual son played Scotty. It is remarkable, and they nailed the look. That's what we're trying to achieve. Lighting.
I'm just my bench picking over now, because Jim told me about one.
It was really like it was like the fourth and fifth season of the original Star Trek that we always wanted, and it's just, they nailed everything about the aesthetic of the original Star Trek.
Really,
that's of course what we're trying to do here.
If you achieve that goal, you know, it might never come back. It's just a fan film.
Exactly.
If you achieve goals like that, you've got the look, you've got the feel, people are enjoying it, you know, the script. When those elements all come together and it sounds like they've got it dead right, then it makes you feel, yes, it's a fan film, but it's been done right. It feels right.
Exactly. And this is ties into that conversation that we've had about a message from Moonbase Alpha being a canon, you know, being accepted by the fan community as being the official next installment or 49th episode. And of course, we're hoping to be number 50 in many people's minds. That's, I mean, in full transparency, that would thrill my little heart here to no end to know that we put something
it might be the last chance we ever get.
And that too, there's so many things.
There is that element to it that none of us are getting any younger.
I know, Darrell. We've had so many conversations about just where we are in our own lives.
I know you said you were doing 3 shows and this is your 3rd.
Yeah.
And where do things move after that? So it's all a learning curve still. But at the end of the day, it's who knows? It might be, who knows?
For sure.
If it does come to fruition, it's if the people we're talking about and talking to and people that are offering the services and all that sort of thing, and if that comes into being, then like we said, it could be best fan film ever. But it's a big statement that.
Yeah.
But if we can, what the aim has got to be is if we can get it anywhere feeling like what the series felt, then it must be on the winner. It must be doing something right.
Absolutely. So hey, listen, our friend Martin Ben's out there just asking, are you still looking for volunteers for Manchester? Absolutely, Martin. And I tell you, I want to say one thing to everybody out there as well that I am just so grateful for. And that's when I started these live events back in 2023 with the small one in Calgary, that was somewhat local to me. The volunteers that we gathered in Calgary have been honestly my rock these last few years, because they've traveled with us each and every time.
In
And
London,
they told me at
when
the
we
end of
were in
Calgary that
London,
they were coming to London. They came to London. They came to Los Angeles, and these events, these last few events, I want to thank everybody out there so much for volunteering their time, because
I
they've
want to do
really
the same as well, because when we took the set to London, she was really wet paint. She was being
yeah,
worked on up to midnight before we set off.
yeah,
We haven't put her together, she was a jigsaw. And when we got down there, I mean, the guys, Darren, Kim, Victor, Ken, all these wonderful people came. Kit, I mean, Kit's part of Eagle 6 now, but,
yeah,
they sort of came, they spent all day with us helping us erect it. Ken watched me still building it with a big sweat on my brow, trying to get as much of it ready for opening doors and things like that the day before. Uh, so, but the one that really did me was that, I have family to look to. That's my job. That's first and foremost with everything. But we came back. We'd gone and had lunch, evening meal, should I say? And we said, right, when we get back, we'd start dropping and doing this on the Sunday night. And the guys, Victor and everybody, they came over and waited and just said, thank you so much. We've enjoyed seeing it that much and helping you. We're here to help you take it down. And what we thought were going to be a 3 o'clock in the morning job, that we came and down, especially, everything were taped up, everything were put back. So I can't thank them people enough,
I know.
But it's same when we've done ASA shows.
Yeah.
It's the people you don't see that tend to put a lot in, and it's do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
They're just getting on with it, and I've had help from people and members in past, and all of a sudden they're just right, what do you want us to do?
Everybody comes together as a team, as a community. You mentioned Darren and Kim, and of course I met them for the first time in Calgary, and they were part of that integral group of volunteers that just loved everything we were doing.
They
And
exceptionally well with everybody, didn't they?
I know. Yeah,
lovely people.
No, lovely. So listen, a couple more comments real quick, and some other people out there. There was somebody chime in from Milano earlier. Claudio Maffei is out there. Hi from Rome. Right,
Hi.
sci-fi from the 60s and 70s was more charming thanks to the space missions of the time. Absolutely, Claudio. And we often found ourselves watching the night sky, as I did, my friend. That's why this strange little show has just meant so much to me, because as a 5-year-old, you could glance up at the sky and see the moon.
Sitting in our front room, black and white.
I know.
Neil going across the screen, and you see 3 of him. I know we were watching it at the time. It was wonderful. And then, like I said, when I met Diane, her uncle Dick actually worked on Apollo. He worked on the LEM engine.
Yeah.
So
it was so closely tied to reality for more. So it was more science fiction reality than science fantasy or things like Star Wars or Star Trek.
Yeah. I think it was like a cake. All the ingredients were sort of it on telly. It was new and modern. We were coming out at back of 50s sci-fi, but all of a sudden it started to show more reality. 50 sci-fi was brilliant, and all the rest of it. But you sort of got more sense of reality, going through these Star Treks and everything. And even Doctor Who at that point as well, the fun and but we had a lot of it about, and it was class telly as well. It wasn't just an incidental thought. It was every element was thought about, down to music and everything, and Anderson's fixed that into our world as well. So you had Doctor Who's and Star Treks and everything. So we all bought into it, I think, in one way or another. And I think Apollo being around and doing what it was doing at the time, it just gelled everybody. It didn't matter what you like.
I know. But it inspired everybody, right? It did it all, back 50 years ago, and now it's doing it all over again. It's just, and that's where everything happening, the timing and synchronicity here.
But I mean, even that statement, what they've been using for Artemis, going back to the moon. Yeah. And they're doing the figure of 8 like Apollo 8 did, and all the rest of it.
Exactly. And the other thing I mentioned the last few weeks here is
even that mission brings back what we were going through with
Of
Apollo
course.
8 and
Yep.
everything else.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's
Absolutely.
wonderful.
And yeah, no, the other thing I've mentioned the last few weeks on some of these live streams is also a television series called For All Mankind, which is an alternate space history series, which is just remarkably well done. The showrunner's Ron Moore, who did the new Battlestar Galactica, and it's in its 5th season, and it's just I just love it because it's the future that I dreamt of as a kid watching Space 1999. It was
I think that and it was the imagination that it were kicking in, because when they actually did set foot, and then obviously they went back and it sort of waned, but even things like the lunar rover and everything, it still it 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 it, it just fetched you in. We've really gone to the moon. We've really landed on the moon. All those thoughts were coming to everybody. Some people were saying, have they landed on the moon? Some people were saying, no, it's not landed on the moon.
No.
But all's welcome, all's welcome. A point of view is a point of view.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I know what Diane's uncle Dick did, and anyway, we won't go there.
No, for
But-
sure. A couple more people
it's the
chiming in.
imagination it kicked off, because we had the imagination with the TV series and
Yes.
radio and what have you. And,
Yeah.
we had everything wrapping its arms around us, which is not there today in the same way.
Yeah.
But we bought into it all. And I still remember the first time I saw a door in a supermarket do that. Shh.
I know.
Right.
Yeah.
And yet I sat and watched Trek for years thinking, self-opening doors. And then all of a sudden there were wheels. Yeah. And how many people were thinking there was Spock walking through them doors going for some jam?
How many people made the little sound?
Yeah. On the other Thursdays, if you're looking at me. But that's the thing. It gelled everything together. And then, you really did believe they were going to go on. You really did believe a moon base might appear on the moon, over time. But, that's that. It didn't.
Oh, you know what? Simon just chimed in. I had not realized that Artemis was the sister of Apollo. I had no idea either. And wow, does that ever make a lot of sense, Simon?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Oh, I love it.
Love it. They're doing it again. It's 1969 all over.
Yeah.
So but it's right, isn't it? That's how we were feeling at the time. We were wow and ooh and ah. And you looked up. I remember one of the main thoughts was looking up the moon in the night sky and thinking, there's people on that. You know what I mean? They've got there. They've landed on the moon. There's people on that. What you're looking at. And it was like, oh, wow. Mind-blowing stuff. Yeah.
No, for sure. So listen, fellas, Catacombs of the Moon. And this is where I'm going to circle back to Scotty again, because Darrell, you said right out that this wasn't your favorite episode. There's been a couple comments already.
No, it's not a case of that. No, I'm not doing this to myself. I've been genuine.
No, listen, don't worry.
Okay, I'm not Roy. I'm not Kit. Right? If you come to my level on this, then I'll be with you. But it's I tend to watch space because it's space, and yeah, it's a bit hard work these days because you're looking at everything else. Boy, what's going on? You to get the look, to get the work done. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Everything's easy till you do it.
Yeah, I really, myself, I don't mind this episode. I like it a lot better than a couple of other year 2 episodes. And, just in brief, yes, everybody knows that there was a lot of changes between year 1 and year 2, some good, some bad, right? It's your own personal opinion and perspective on things, of course. But I've been saying all along, there's golden nuggets in here. I really don't mind this episode.
I don't dislike you two in any way, shape, or form.
No,
I get just the same enjoyment in many ways.
Absolutely.
You one.
Yeah, it's just if in my mind, I guess as I've gotten older, I've started to look at it more like a soft reboot, right? And if you approach it from those terms, right, it works. and it did what it was intended to do. It was faster paced. There was more action. Um, uh,
Yeah,
uh, the
if
characters
it had to appeal,
were injected with
if
humanity
it was
and
sort of
some humor.
upgraded to appear to, it had had the season, but if it was done to appeal to the younger end and try and draw more people into, this is a bit more exciting, this show, and, we've had season one, but this is season two. I sort of get it, I do sort of get it. But I don't dislike it at all.
No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think a lot of people were I I I don't know. I'm going to talk to guest stars for a moment because some people were chiming in as well, and that's one of the strengths of this episode in my mind is that James Lorenzen gave just a powerhouse performance,
Yeah, it did.
and I just like he carries that whole episode in my mind. Pamela Stevenson, not so much, right? She's
Yeah.
basically in the hospital bed most of the episode, but it was
Well, I worked out today watching it again. I found out why season 3 didn't get made,
why is that?
because the gas bill from this episode must have took all the money that season 3 would have been happy with. The amount of flames we saw and the burners. Yeah. So I got that now. That came to mind
Yeah,
today.
Absolutely. That's a
I
good
thought there's season 3 going up in smoke right before your
There
very
you
eyes.
go. Yeah. Diane's chiming in. She
Sorry.
says, I'm going to have to admit,
Any.
Diane says, I have to admit, I
And,
really like Catacombs of the Moon. I'm a big fan of Tony. And that's another thing, Diane. It's a really good, strong supporting cast episode, right?
I mean, again, it was more about Tony, but they were sort of at the forefront. Catherine with her popping in and out.
Yeah.
It was lovely to see Pam Rose. So
Yes.
she was behind on set and she was led down on recliners and things. And then, I don't dislike.
No.
Put it this
And
way,
David's even bringing up another good point.
Turn off with them, put it that way.
Yeah.
But Catacombs I've seen only about 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
But not
David,
through choice, just through,
yeah.
You tend to go to your favorites and things.
David brings up another good point. I like Catacombs of the Moon. Helena was a true doctor, especially showing her frustrations with Ben and the little absolutely right. This is the episode for me that I mean, of course, we all missed Anton, but this is the Jeffrey Kassoon was in several episodes, but he was really
but it worked well.
Yes, absolutely. Well. This one and I really enjoyed him in Bringers of Wonder as well. So he really came into his form there. Love to reach out to Jeffrey and maybe see if he wants to come to Manchester. I know he's still touring around and traveling as well. Simon saying
here before it did have an effect on me. I mean, we have these sort of things inside of us.
Okay.
Because in the explosives room we found quite a lot in there, so and that's what we do. So it's just nice to
that's okay. No, those are so cool. We'll have to maybe towards the end here we'll get you to give us a little tour, guys, of what you're working on. A little sneak preview for all things Manchester again. Hey, listen, Simon's chiming in real quick. James Lorenzen sadly died quite recently. I did hear that as well. He was always a powerful presence on screen, perfect for his time. And I want to dovetail that into something that not a lot of people would likely have known or realized, but James Lorenzen.
You're going to go to the music, aren't you?
I know. James Lorenzen actually appeared in the movie Pink Floyd The Wall, and he appears at the beginning of the movie, and he plays essentially Pink's dad, a World War II soldier. Spoiler, not spoiler, who gets killed, and that's the impetus for Pink, or call it what you will, Roger Waters' sort of self-autobiographical.
You're going to shoot me now because Kit was saying he appeared in, I think it was a detective. I can't remember the name. Shoot me. Kit's listening now, and I'm sorry.
Is he? Yeah.
But he also said that Nick had appeared in that detective series also 2 or 3 times as well.
Okay.
So I can't just bring it to my tongue. But Kit will be shouting out at me, Darrell, it's this, but so I was surprised at that I, so pass cross. don't
Yeah.
they? In different ways.
Yeah. And Diane's also saying, oh, I loved that. And pre Baywatch for Pamela Anderson.
Is that all the girls in bikinis?
I
I
think
think they're coming out at Solarium, maybe. It's,
maybe, yeah. Just because everybody got to dress down so much throughout the episode, right?
I remember having a vest like Tony's.
I found that
I
odd.
do. I did have a vest like
Yeah.
Tony's. You know, people at my age, etc., etc.
Yeah. And of
Yeah.
course, we had the Moonbase girls walking by in bikinis even at one point. So it was very unique from that perspective of seeing them. Not only, it was rare in year 2 to even see them remove their jacket, but of course, not only did they were walking around in their tunics, which I thought was really cool because it looked more like year 1, right?
I mean,
With
yeah, Sandra in an altar
showing
You know
the
what I
colored
mean?
sleeve, but then they I remember Xenia Merton was in a and Tony, of course, they even removed their tunics and they were really feeling the heat, literally, right? But that's
like
fine.
They did a good job.
It
felt relaxed.
it served the story, right? And they really wanted to portray what they were enduring, right?
Yeah.
David's chiming in saying the only downside of the episode is the overuse of the word faith. If it was a drinking game, everybody would be drunk by the end of the episode. Yeah, you know what? I get what you're saying, Dave, but you know what? I mean, that it was also one of the episodes in year 2 that incorporated that idea and element where so many year 1 episodes did successfully, right? This was,
but I think it robbed the time as well. I think
Yeah.
it robbed the time as well.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit of that there.
What else we got here? I always am left wondering when Maya transforms into a big cat, whether that is the right thing to do in front of someone with a dangerous heart condition.
Yeah, I'd have thought about that today.
Or the lion.
I don't think I'd have been. I think they should have transformed into a man with a torch. A big cat. Really, I think I'd have been leaving Moonbase Alpha quite quickly. But no, Maya's Maya, isn't she? She can do what she wants.
Wow, I love it. Hey,
I'll be able to.
Hey, Martin's out there again saying, I was wondering if you could possibly persuade Isla Blair to do a follow up on the message from New Texas in the upcoming fan film. Oh boy, you know what? That is unfortunately Freddie Jones is no longer with us, but boy, Martin,
not with anymore. No.
You know what? All I will say at this point is that the possibilities are endless, and I think that's why everybody's so excited about this, because they've seen what we've done already with the trailers and bringing Dr. Matthias back. The new trailer with Christian Anhold, I think, really resonated with a lot of people to see Christian play the son of Tony and Maya, right? And that's just one example of things we've talked about, Dan, through the years. The possibilities
are just going on
endless.
There about Texas City. Texas City. Jim on Texas City. I think some of it's gone now, but he gifted me one of the domes, if you want to put it that. So the actual base is under the dome. And I remember, I think it was Cosford 1 or Cosford 2 where Jim first took it. Oh no, we took some. I think Jim took some to Undercon 1 when we did the first one for Jamie. But I know we saw it there, and it's one heck of a thing. It's an amazing. Texas City is brilliant. The amount of work and the incidental pieces and EMA and all that sort of stuff, kit parts that have gone into them is incredible. And Jim had this extra piece that didn't have much left on it than what the rest had. And he just said, sort of, if you can put that to any use, you can have it. And funnily enough, it has what we call the butter dishes that are on tank 3 of the laser tanks at the back, the cubes. And Jim said, you can have that to one of your laser tanks if you're sure, if you need it. And I couldn't, when I saw the work that went into it, and funnily enough, when you flip it as well, when you see what's on the backside of them that you don't see really, the work on them movements is incredible, because you're not talking 1 or 2 parts or 100 parts, you're talking thousands, I would imagine, by the time, especially, the Texas cities that we took out that were full and complete and still under the domes and everything. they were towering up. There were all sorts going on in there. Yeah. So if they do that, maybe we can get a close up on them toxicity points. If you do that episode, I'll send you some shots. At least you're getting an understanding for what toxicity look like for those that haven't seen it.
Right.
Yeah.
So Scotty, did you watch this episode recently yourself?
Yeah, I have a lot.
Do you have any
Catacombs?
Catacombs of the Moon? Yeah.
Yeah, I made him watch it 6 times in the last 2 days.
Oh, come on.
So,
What are you trying to do to the poor kid?
no, it was only 4. It was only 4. I told
Any,
him
not only just in relation to year 2, but any episode 6 times in a row of space is
see, what you lot
maybe a
don't
little
know
much.
is, because Scott is such a sponge, right? And he'll throw things up. I mean, when I was building with Hilton,
Well, those sparks.
I need that shot. We need that shot. We're building this properly. We need that shot, right? And Hilton could like that. Right? No, I couldn't. I was more that let's get it done, stay on stream. This has to. So, Hilton's not with me anymore and all them sorts of things. So I sort of lost that. But not anymore. Because Scott I think he's only seen the series twice, but knows it word for word.
Mm-hmm.
And all
Well,
them
I
sort
can
of
recognise episodes.
So like I said, asking Scott to watch Catacombs, it's I'll just go and over to Scott. Because yeah, but I'll be honest with you, it did come back to me a lot. It is a while since I saw it, but when I watched it today, I thought, oh yeah, of course, yeah.
You know what? That's Simon just jogged my memory on something. So he's saying, I always wonder too, after his breakdown, whether Osgood's co-workers have any reservations when he returns to the explosives section in mining.
Oh yeah, I think I would have done.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah,
But
the other
element, didn't they? I think they tried to stop him when they realised what we were going to explosives room for.
Yeah. Because he was barking orders down there pretty heavily. But you know what? I also one of the things I appreciate about this episode is a little character background between Osgood and Tony, and we find out that Tony was actually best man at Pat's wedding,
Best
right?
man at wedding. Yeah.
He really was good.
It's again all these little
character building moments in year 2, like the conversations we've already talked about it between Koenig and Maya.
But instantly by doing so, all of a sudden you realise the relationship between Tony and Peter.
Yeah,
because you know that to be a best man, then they got to be really close.
They had to have been pretty tight.
So that draws you in a little bit more when he's talking about the characters and what they're going through and that sort of side of it. Yeah,
no, 100%. Visual effects wise, this was an interesting episode as well, where you see all the scenes of the Moonbase buildings being plummeted by smoke and heat and almost melting effects, which is something we never really saw
station up on one of the buildings, like they put it up now and again. In one or two shots.
Yeah. So that was kind of neat. What else do we have here? Stephen Redder, I think you're right. I sort of heard that as well, that some of the set actually caught fire during the flame scenes, like Darrell was talking about the gas bill. But yeah, I think down through the years I heard that as well, that the big 4-poster bed that Michelle's on actually caught fire.
Yeah, you could have made some toast on them. That's all I'm thinking. There's quite a lot of fire going on there, but yeah, I don't think I'd have been in the bed with a lot of chiffon around it, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? This is interesting as well. Simon says one of the themes of the late episodes of year 2 are the Elfins sort of slowly going crazy or losing their mind, like Sanderson in Seance Spectre.
Yeah.
Huh. Very, very interesting. Yeah. What else do we have here? Barbara is exceptional in Catacombs. It was a really good Barbara episode. You're right. High Point, one of my favorite episodes. Thanks, Jeff. Yeah.
I'll tell you what I did notice in that episode. When they went back to Koenig in the Eagle, they fetched back the double door. The double door that they walked through.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, and
Huh.
yeah. So I mean, I've had discussions about that. I'll just throw this in there. I know it's not really related to Catacombs in that way, but we when we've talked kitchen past, and like now I'm making spacesuits and helmets, uh, and how Nick really comes through them doors, and then he has to negotiate the chair, and he has to negotiate the handles, and he has to then get himself on the chair, then lower himself in,
Yep.
and then the early shots where they have spacesuit on and packs and everything. Mick was sort of working that one out because you know uh, Nick makes it look like he has lived in that eagle all his life,
Mhm.
but to actually do that, and it made us wonder because Scotty as well, we're doing Star Wars in helmets. I think the helmets were opened up on face to show actors a little bit more,
Yep.
but it also then allows you to see more as you're negotiating in the spacesuit, we'll put it that way. But how difficult just something so simple looks where you're walking through a door, going over to a chair and sitting down, and then getting ready to fly an eagle, how difficult really that must have been to actually wear a suit, negotiate a double door
Yeah.
without looking down and all these sorts of things.
Right.
Then negotiating yourself across, then making it look naturally, get in the chair and slide yourself in before you grab the grips. And just them little things that you don't really think about, and that's what I saw today, just seeing that double door in that episode again on the Eagle, you know. Uh, so yeah, and it still crosses my mind, do I incorporate a double door? And the answer at the minute is I'd like to. So we'll see how we go along, we're going to walk with. Uh, but yeah, we've just cleared all the room and space ready to erect to next week. We've had a little bit of a problem with Manchester, but we think we've overcome that now. So yeah, we'll just double check that next week.
You know what,
Uh,
we're really good at rolling with the punches. We can adapt.
oh,
We've
dear
shown
me.
that.
Yeah.
We've shown
But
that over
no,
yeah,
yeah,
the last number of
I
years,
think
even
I
even
think
with a
Dave
last minute
demonstrated
hotel
it, but we
change
didn't.
in for London.
But it's yeah, I'm excited, really excited for Manchester. There's stuff there that people haven't seen before. That's not an easy thing to say neither, because we've done some shows. When you look at Anacon 1 and 2 and Cosford 1 and 2, and then we did Eagle Meets and then we've done Eagle 6 stuff and all the rest of it. And yet there's still stuff that we can bring to exhibitions, the guys, and it's wow. And yeah, that hasn't been on show before. And I had this little thing. I used to ask the guys, what can we do different for this show?
Mhm. Yep.
So yeah, when we're at Peterborough, we got the 4 suits together. The guys fixed all the suits.
Yep.
We got the 3 laser tanks reunited at one show. Where was that? I think that was at Matt Irving Small Space. And again, mentioning Martin Wiley. Martin's one of the guys. About 4 or 5 of the main guys that own. But Martin used to keep everything here, even though he lives in Belgium, and he used to give us free reign. He knew to go out as it came back and looked after, and Martin used to let us take things out on shows. But like I said, just that little thing about actors doing something that looks so simple, but to get that right and looking right, and the choreography that must have gone into that, he must have done that quite a lot, Nick and everybody. That
Mhm.
double door is quite a step over, and
It
especially if
is.
you
Yeah.
were to,
Yeah. Hey, listen, we had a request out there in the chat. Mr. Stephen Redder is asking, can we see some of the new pieces you've created for the Eagle, Darrell?
uh,
Anything close by and handy? I mean, the wonderful
no,
spacesuits
not
behind you, of
here.
course.
I'll tell you why it's cost me a fortune, that Eagle. It's everything. Well, the thing is, when it came back, we picked up a storage on the day we got back. So the odd bit is now, every time September comes around, it's the annual, do I keep this going? It's costing me a fortune. I could have bought a second house and 3 mortgages with this. So we've been doing work down there. Stephen, in answer to your question, you've probably seen this year we've been doing a lot with spacesuits. Yeah. Lots of work has gone into them. A lot of time and effort has gone into them because I think they're needed. I think they have to look right as best we can. I've been very lucky. Andrew's been there helping me out with measurements, and Jim sent me Xenia suit up, for me to look at. I'd already photographically dissected Nick's about 15 years ago. I got the chance to do that. So we know in a way stitch for stitch Nick's suit. But with this one, we just, because again, everything has to be built. Nothing can you can't just go out and say, oh, that was that, buy it. Even the dentist chair, yeah, we bought one, but we're still looking for another, and it's many, many years, and there were 3 or 4 different versions of them because they had different bases, and some were electric and some weren't, some were hydraulic, so to even get close, we've been very lucky. But again, the other thing I've picked up this year to help, with future exhibitions, we'll put it that way, is Jim's been leveling out his collection a little bit. I think really to a lot what he most enjoys. But the one thing I've picked up off Jim this year, what I mentioned on one of the posts, is Dave McLaughlin used to make some wonderful alpha costumes. And David was with Kit with my mission on Mrs. Moonbase.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, but I think he moved away and they don't see each other as often as they used to. But David worked on Harry Potter, still a job in. He's a leather specialist, and he's still down at Leavesden, if I remember rightly. So, but David made. I think David Sterling picked one up actually a few weeks ago. He managed to find one on eBay. One of
I think so too. I think I saw that.
Yeah. Now, Jim had collected a lovely collection of Dave McLaughlin's jackets and full costumes, which I've been lucky enough to purchase off Jim. So, we tried shoes to that. Yes, we know the leatherette. Yes, I've learnt all the extras that go with it, and ulsters and the materials and all that sort of stuff. So we've been sort of working on that to add to the display. No, not to replace the originals. If the originals are on display, then ours won't be to a fashion. Somebody might wear one or something like that. They might be around loosely, but not to take any shine off the originals. Because when you see the originals, again, they're off the scale. So we've been really doing stuff like that. Yeah. So.
Well, and we saw here last week.
Jed just put his face through the door and has gone out again. Sorry, bro. Yeah. So
we saw last week you were working on helmets. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
You've seen them, have you? Yeah. You don't mean these, do you?
I think
you don't mean these sort of things.
Yeah. Well, how about that? Hey.
So yeah, but they're really net rings. And again, for them don't know, it looks very simple. It's an inch by an inch, and you got an inch knob on it and all this sort of thing. But when you come, and I'm still, the lads are laughing at me at the minute because I'm still saying that grey render colour is Ford Granada colour, but we'll test and find out. I just seem to remember that colour and it's singing out at me, it's Ford Granada, but we'll find out. But yeah, they're coming on great. The suits are coming on great. I'll let you into a secret that I hadn't noticed before.
Okay.
When we were doing them, and you find this so often with space, it's very hard to get a scale, and it's quite hard because, like an Eagle cockpit, you've only got the extinguisher, you've got the seatbelt clip, you've only certain things, the chair itself, that can give you a sense of scale. Right, this is this size, so that's that size around it. Yeah. So we sort of were looking at the suits and doing everything. I'm going to tell you a little story. I hope Andrew will forgive me in a minute, but I'll just show you at lengths we go to sometimes. So anyway, got all that off Jim. That's not to replace any originals. We've got some lovely Dave McLaughlin costumes. And I think if anybody has one out there, I'm only short of a brown sleeve. That's not there, and a red jacket. But, we'll look to try and work to complete that. Yeah. But Andrew came out with a little story the other week and we were trying to get the patches. So the IRC patches, okay.
Yeah.
I've had all these specially made up, okay. I
Okay.
did buy some a long time ago from a company called Blue Tiger Trading. Sort of come close, the colouring and everything. So anyway, I thought I've got to get these made up. I'm not really seeing out there what we need to get the right look. And then Andrew come up with this wonderful story. I hope he forgives me for telling it. But I said, Andrew, can you just, I said, it's the two greens at the beginning and in the middle. We just got to get them the right shade and everything. Right. You know, I should have asked me sooner, but Andrew's always very busy a lot of time. And he said, I'm going to show you something now that you'll never see again, never seen before. And I hope you don't mind this because it's his story really, not mine to tell. But he said, I'll show you the back of an original IOC patch.
Okay.
Now, when you read into that sentence, you then become to realise that they're all on the suits. But there is a suit that one is missing. Okay. And we think we know what it comes off, but sadly, I don't think Andrew would reunite that for this reason that he shared with me, and I hope you don't mind me sharing it, is that he went out and when he got Eagle 2 or Phil there, Phil gifted him an IOC patch. So it remains very dear to his heart. But he shared that image with me to allow me so that I could look at the back of one of them and even try to get the right feel and the right look. And that's what the lads do. They help each other to them so it's a level. It's like Jim sending up at Senior suit,
Yeah.
you know, because we were trying to, you know, I had a couple of seamstresses on suits, you know, and we'll find that orange and it's out there until you come to find it. And then, and I know Rob made some suits a long time ago for everyone, and he found it difficult. You know, he was using parachute silk, he said, and all these sorts of things. So even to do, you know, and I applaud them because there's a few suits turned up on Facebook lately that, you know, fans have been making, and it's a little, it takes some doing, you know. So, but the one I realised is that when you see a suit like in Breakaway and you see Nordstrom, Helena when she's overcome, the fair facing dead on camera, is that when you go down the side of the helmet, everything's in one plane. So the helmet touches the same plane as the neck ring and touches the same plane as the side of the chest pack.
Right.
So that then assumes me that the backpack's going to fall in on the same plane as well. And Andrew, bless him, he's going to check that out for me. And hopefully we know then that's because you throw that element out as well, it makes it look different than what it was just by something being out of alignment. And I never realized that they were all in alignment, the side of the helmet, the neck ring, and the chest back.
Right.
So yeah, you see, again, still learning after 50 years.
Yeah.
I know I've bored you now. I'll behave.
No, not at all. Well, here's a great shot of that Eagle cockpit with a couple of those spacesuits.
Sorry, just going back to Stephen's question.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's not, no. So the plan is, and we did have a lot of it made. It was just time weren't there for us, you know, we hit that wall. So yes, we will have handles. They are already cast. They were on that day we went to London. So all the, but again, the gimbal has to be worked out and how they work and how they rise and fall and also come towards. So
Yes.
that's got to be thought through properly. All the pads over the butter dishes, what we call the butter dishes, all the pads are made. So two either side that will go up. All the back has to be complete this time, but we're also looking from one side of the floor right over to the other side of the floor being complete. So
Okay.
everything you see right over and back down, and then we're onto the handles and making sure that works as you can. I can't be pushing Eagle dentist chairs around at my age. We need 18 fellas, 4 elephants, and whoever can help us, and lots of grease, I would imagine, you know, because as you know, but they take some lift in them chairs. When you see them coming towards camera, gliding, sometimes two together, I still sit here thinking, David Chipperfield must have been involved with that somewhere, because they just not built for moving. There you go. But that top, everything above the butter dishes, the aim is to finish it all this time. There's a little tweak I have to do for Manchester, but we'll not disclose that. We'll keep that. We have a tweak to make. But everything up and over and handles back should be finished. So that way, if you're going to intend using it for shooting purposes, at least there's a lot more you can shoot against. Front, yeah, with 2 windows. I already did that wheel a long time ago, worked out, could I get an eagle-shaped window in? But it's that do you, don't you? And no, they didn't exist. And yeah, they give imagery that the umpty window and all this sort of thing. But it's which path I walk on that one. It's which path I walk. Do I put what I think would match everything else? Silly thing like that. You're talking about Artemis, yeah? So Artemis gravityless, no gravity. So I got thinking, well, here's one for you. If you've got pads on the side, pads on the top, pads on the back, you would think in a weightless environment, you'd have pads somewhere towards the front. So do you include some sort of padless butter dishes, something at the front? Because if you've got pads all the way around and all over the back, if they get weightless, would they put them at the front where you're going to go bouncing off a load of controls?
Sure.
So it's all that secondary thought, and then you've got to make it look right, and it's got to be alpha. So a lot of effort was in. But
yeah,
can't thank people enough for the lovely comments we've had.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Catacombs.
No,
but Stephen, that's what we're doing. That's the aim. The back, up and over. Sadly, I lost my brother this year, and that sort of knocked us back. And Diane, again, we've been working to get Diane back on her feet this year. So, no, it hasn't been any less effort. It's just that effort's had to go in other places as we keep going along in different ways.
Sorry to hear that as well.
And 21 week, and we built what you saw in London in less than 21 weeks. So God knows what's going to turn up at Manchester. But it goes up next week, and then it carries on with the madness until the day we're going to Manchester. And the one blessing we have at Manchester, I'm very lucky this time, is that if I forget any handles, we can go back and get them.
I know. It's close by. That was all in the game plan.
The snag was they weren't forgot about. We actually took, because they're on, I think they're on a 28mm bore for the copper piping, which then gets to industrial pipe bending and all that sort of stuff to get the right curvature, because it's more of a glide. It's not a 90-degree bend. So you've got to get that glide right and fit in. I hand-sculpted all the controls. I still think they have a feel of helicopter about them. What they came off, I don't know. But hand-sculpted them on every shot I could find of them grips. And there is bits on them. There's a bulbous part away from camera on the bottom side. You have a bulbous part. Do we know what inside it? No, but the bulbous part's there. So I've incorporated, again, like we said with Eagle, we'll incorporate what we have and can find out, and it'll go on. But they've all been cast up in aluminium now, so with 6 handles, 4 will go on, and then with 2 spare. So yeah, and we've got all the piping. We just didn't have time to put it together and find the right pipe bender. But there we go. We took it with us anyway, just in case. But yeah. But well, I want to thank everybody. I mean, the way they've looked at the Eagle, she were built for no other reason, no bigger, no less than we were trying to find out the work that Keith Wilson did and his wonderful team. So that's it. No other reason than that. And then you taught me into resurrecting it, and then that's it. It came about. So yeah.
It's my fault.
Absolutely. Zip again.
Oh boy. Couple of fun comments. Simon saying, do we ever find out in Catacombs if the Elfins get to find more terranium for the artificial
Koenig weren't he? You can't
he was kind of really
he's not on the line, huh? He must have been having a bad day.
But you know what, that's sort of I one of my critiques of year 2 is that they sort of rely on this trope a little too often in year 2, where they're searching for a mineral, right? From Metamorph, right? They're searching for something. Then on all the glisters, they're looking for
Yeah,
milganite.
Patrick Muller. Yeah, Patrick Rees.
And terranium, and so yeah, at least 3 times where they rely on that trope. But you know what? Having said that, it kind of makes sense because leading into message, right? See, this is very interesting. I've never thought of it this way either. But
Okay,
in year 2, if the base is sort of getting run down, right? And they need these, right? They don't have the resources from Earth anymore, right?
No,
It kind of makes sense, so I'm putting that positive spin on it, where the base,
we can't wait for it.
right,
Yeah, we
right.
can't
And they say in message that because of the condition, the state of the base, that's part of the reason why they had to leave. But then I also went out of my way to incorporate that in the latest trailer, where Christian Anholt says, thanks to technology that we've discovered here, ancient ruins that we've discovered have allowed us to repair the base, or they're going to allow us to get the life support systems back online and fully functional. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, he was lovely as well. Christian was lovely down in London.
Yeah.
Wonderful guy.
Yeah, he had such a good time. That's where
when Christian turned up and we're talking to model lads, all those and ASA and everything, he fetched, I think it was sunk lock and laser gun that his dad had given him. But yeah, they were quite robust actually.
Yeah.
I think all metal. So he just pulled them and produced them and showed them to the guys, and this is what my dad gave me. Yeah.
It's going through the
comments.
See
that. I can't see the comments. It's lovely, but
that's okay. Yeah. No, everybody's chiming in, and
they're probably saying get him off.
No, are you kidding? Are you kidding? You know what I would like to do though is we should just maybe we're doing really well. Holy smokes! It's been almost 90 minutes already.
That's early for me. It's normally 3 hours with lads. Don't worry.
Can I just say this real quick? Going back to the episode Catacombs at Moon, what I did find odd was that halfway through the latter end of the episode, where they're going through the Catacombs itself, trying to escape Tony and that.
Yeah.
Right.
What you probably didn't see a lot of, probably like 2 minutes, is whilst they're walking through, it's like Michelle is on the ground, and then it's like Patrick, all of a sudden forgetting, of course, is holding something in his hand, like the trigger.
Okay.
Is like undoes it.
The belt,
and it's like, well, if Tony that's behind you, you probably think you're still wearing it, right, when they catch up to you. So it's like a little bit of a, I'm going to drop it, but they won't know that I've dropped it.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of like, if they're walking behind that slow, it's like probably the mind's trying to get deeper, even though he's, by that point, no longer wearing the thing that they're worried about.
Yeah,
so
the explosive belt.
It's like a little game he's playing.
Yeah. That's a good point, Scott.
I thought that was interesting.
Well, yeah. It could have been perceived a couple different ways, right?
I would never have thought of it.
Yeah, and it might have just been a continuity error. Nice observation there for sure.
Yeah.
People are joking about releasing that terranium for Tony's beer.
Tony's beer experiments that are probably never going to get made. The amount of times you try to use that beer thing,
I'm trying to come up
every time they use it, there's always a simple, what's it going to be this time? You got to love them, mate. You got to love them. It gets a bit of a human feel to me.
Oh boy. Listen, I don't want to keep you guys too long, but if you're okay, I'd maybe like to just circle back to the Kickstarter for a few minutes.
As long as everybody's not,
I think we're doing okay. I think we found enough to talk about there. It was a fun chat, and we made our quota on minutes dedicated to the actual. But this is not uncommon, guys. You've seen our shows before. It's like sometimes we talk 10 minutes about the episode, and then we just ramble on about anything at all to do with space.
Well, so. I think it was again, we're always missing everything, and other things that's been happening. And again, it's been such a busy 2 weeks. I couldn't believe. I mean, when you said, that you were doing the Kickstarter on the same day as Artemis,
Yeah, I
which is
know.
incredible.
Yeah.
And sort of falling into place wise, not planned.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like you
No,
said, some things bit weird at the minute, isn't it? Things are happening, and it's a bit
things
weird.
are happening for a reason. Things are playing out the way
All
they
being well.
should.
Yeah, keep the
And
faith.
I always like to think that it's Ara looking out for us. It's Margaret, and if anybody out there in the fan community knows the legend of Margaret, you'll understand. If you know, you know. When I say that Margaret's looking after us all, and I truly believe that. Yeah, 100%.
The
So
one
listen,
thing also about, if people are asking why it took so long to find an hotel, we had good friends, didn't we, of mine over
that's
in
a good point.
Manchester.
Yeah,
Andy, my DJing world, because we were around hotels all the time, and Andy does the Olympics, all sorts, taekwondo and all sorts, table tennis. So we had good people looking all around. But the problem is, just same in DJ land, that weddings tend to take precedence and they get booked up 2 years in advance. So we were coming up with some fantastic hotels. But that said, the one that you found, I think, is a little nugget. I think it's a little gold nugget. It's, when we've looked at it and, that area outside and all them sort of things and the feel of it all, it just has a lovely feeling about it. This, and nothing wrong with where we were in London, etc.,
no.
or anywhere else. It's just, it has a good feel about it this time.
Well, and it does. I've said this before, and you're right, Darrell. It goes along with the idea that everything that we were able to pull off in London. It's like nobody could ever recapture that. It was just so amazing. All the stars aligned, and I didn't want to. Yeah. Yeah, it was. So this time out, of course, we've said that it's we're not going to have 30 guests again. We just can't but so we're going to go the opposite way a little bit. We're going to downsize things, but it's more intimate. It's going to be a smaller guest list, but we're also going to have exclusivity of the whole hotel as well.
You've mentioned to me one or two names. You've even mentioned to me that someone has actually approached you to be there.
Yeah.
That nobody's seen, right? And then when you give me that name, and I thought, wow, okay, yeah. So, and there's nothing wrong in that, it keeps it fresh, just like we used to do with model work. The guys would always, stand up to the chore, and they fetch some fantastic things around. But this show won't be the same as LA, and LA won't be the same as London, and London won't be the same as Andercon. And that's the thing about them. You have to treat each one as its own little baby and make sure it's looked after.
Yeah, and it's not that there's any competition to constantly try and one up ourselves, but it's just we just felt that wouldn't it be cool to take over an entire facility and it just would really create a unique atmosphere. Even from a cosplay perspective, to know that it's just going to make everybody cosplaying going to feel so much more comfortable, not knowing that they're prancing around in the general public, right? I mean, because
we did cosplay of Star Wars, but we did that for raising money for charity and all them sorts of reasons and that sort of stuff. But to see so many people in London in Alpha costume, and not just that, am I right in thinking they actually out of Catacombs, didn't some of the guys dress up in the jumpsuits?
Oh yeah, in Los Angeles.
They all dressed up as the mining guys.
They were miners.
One pieces. Yeah.
They had the colorful jumpsuits on and
that's what I love about it all. We all get, you might not want to build an eagle, I might not want to do this, you might not want to do that, but we all get our piece of it. We all get our fix. We all get what we enjoy most about it. And then we get to share that with everybody else. So it's great. It's great, really.
Yeah.
But if Manchester comes anywhere close to London, and LA with Blackburn, the birthday and everybody that attended,
every
and the people at LA, and this is another one for me. There were people at LA that have never been to a convention going for the first time, you know, and they're on video and as long as them people can walk away from any show, especially, you know, I have a friend Lois in Denmark, and Lois Madsen, right? And Lois is so much because Lois is making 6 replica 44-inch eagles in both guises, 3 of
Wow.
each. Okay.
Wow.
And that's where Lois gets his love and passion. Okay. But he had a choice in London. Do I look after all the brass work for my eagles, or do I go to London? So he obviously, like, you know, he chose eagles. But this time Lois is coming, and he's so looking forward to it. And he said, Darrell, will I be, and this is a simple one, will I be able to take some pictures of the models? Which, when you go to a convention, and you've been to a few, right? But he came out with this because all the reference material I have, I've never took any of them shots myself. So he's looking forward to actually coming, seeing the models and photographing them how he wants to do it. And again, it's so Liza will get so much out of just being there. You know, we've talked in the past. I mean, there's certain moments I'll never forget. You know, I saw a family first looking at, you know, Captain's the puppets. You know, I hadn't been around the puppets a lot then at that time. I think we were on Cosford 1. Yeah. And his dad sat down with 3 children and he's telling them all about Anderson World. And, you know, and in front of him, you've got that beautiful Troy Tempest. You know, I think Chris King did. And you'd Steve Zodiac. Steve Zodiac, for those that don't know, he was in a pose. But where they found Steve Zodiac was he'd been made into a trophy for a bowling alley. So he was on a wood plinth in a pose as though he were bowling.
Wow.
Right. So when we did Cosford 1, you've got the beautiful Troy Tempest in his chair, and above him you've got the original Steve Zodiac in his pose. And then lower down you've got this family, and this is where I get my kicks. And he's saying to the children, you know, I'll go home and I'll get you the DVDs and you can see and feel. They didn't know what world they were looking at, but they knew it was wonderful. And that, you know, and I've had quite a few little nuggets like that live with me, and that's why I do it. You know, it's the joy side of it. You know, we all love space, and it's great to pass it on. You know, and same with UFO, and same with all, you know, the Supermarine Nation, etc., etc. Yeah. So again, so just to add on to Manchester, that's where it's nice to incorporate that other little side of Anderson for those like them people and myself at that time that hadn't been around, haven't seen. You know, and Andrew educates me every time I speak to him about the puppets. And when you physically see them in reality, they are mind-blowingly beautiful. The work that's gone into them, how they look, you know, and Andrew knows I say it often. They take that away. They do. They just do. And I haven't been around them that often, you know. So, you know, there isn't a lot of Thunderbirds left. Captain Scarlet, you know, Andrew and Joe 90, Secret Service, all them sort of things. Andrew is fantastic with that and what he does. So yeah. So
very exciting.
If we can bring all the elements together, then it's going to be one heck of a show. And to be honest, we're very, very, very lucky that we can have a chance of doing that. You know, just by thinking it is wonderful. You know, so yeah.
No, well, terrific. Well, listen, guys, I'm going to just run through the Kickstarter a little bit for everybody out there and sort of end off on that.
Absolutely.
I'm going to start with Darrell. You can talk a little bit about this image. It's sort of cut off there. Oh, wait, I got a better one. There we go. This was one of the first posters I did for Return to Moonbase Alpha. And of course, you showed this at the beginning of the episode. There's that little original radar tower, isn't it?
No, that's not the original radio tower. That's a copy I made.
Oh, is it? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a motorized one actually. It actually went round a bit too fast.
Okay, my bad.
No, I'll just tell you again. It's a bit of a story. We have said it before. So me and H had gone down to Chris T's, Mr. T.
Yeah.
Chris T had come along with his wonderful 44-inch eagle. And as you do, we said we'll do some shoot. Yeah. So we've gone down to do that and have some fun. But as it always turns out, it's got to about 1:30, 1:20 in the morning. and it's cold, and we haven't done nothing. We're chatting and having a glass of wine, and it's should we, shouldn't we, have we, haven't we? And the way Chris did that is still takes my imagination. Yeah, he basically produced this scenery that to me, I'm thinking, okay, right, it right. I'm not going to too much away, but the model was put on something and set, and then I just, when them kiddies night lights. I don't want to spoil it for people, but the kiddies night light popper thing, like, so one of them got put in the building, and then Chris had a light, and how he made those 3 or 4 elements turned into them images what he produced, so crisp, so full of life, amazes me. And then Chris, he added Starscapes and Product Enterprise Eagles. It's still sneezing.
I was just, I think I caught it in time.
Yeah. So, the Mr. T's pictures, all we did is went along and stood there in awe, really, because and funnily enough, I talked to Chris over the last few weeks, and he said it doesn't take a lot. You just got to know what you're doing, and you know how it was done as well. And when somebody like Chris gets an image like that, you just, wow.
The takeaway here,
it was outside in the garage at 2 a.m.
I know. And you've told me that story. I can't believe it was. Yeah, but the takeaway here, the really remarkable thing is that these are actually, were these Product Enterprise 12-inch Eagles?
Them Chris is superimposed them. They're my Product Enterprise Eagles.
It's unbelievable.
And he put them flying over Alpha.
I know.
And then he had the stars. So on some are a bit less and some are a bit more. He sent me a few variations. And he did exactly the same with, Chris P's wonderful 44-incher. And
right. Here's another shot. Yeah.
They nearly didn't happen because, it was so late, and we thought, have we, haven't we? And we thought, well, that's what we've come down for. We will.
Right. Yeah.
And it was in Chris's garage at 2 a.m. Freezing. Actually, it was pretty cold. It was really cold.
This is sort of what inspired us. So all things Kickstarter, really quickly for everybody out there. Of course, we went live on April 1st. The campaign is going to run until the 30th of the month. We got 10 or 11 days left, and we made our original funding goal within about 3 hours. Phenomenal.
I couldn't believe that. I haven't been online for 2 or 3 days, and when he told me that, I fell off my chair. I thought, wow. And
as of today, we've actually tripled that, so we're about 300% funded.
Wow.
And we're, of course, on top of that. So we've had a couple of stretch goals.
What have you left, Warren? Is it 3 weeks to go?
No, we only got about 10 days left.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it is counting down. It is counting down. But this was our terrific first stretch goal. This was something that I was so proud to put together with Darrell, my friend there in the background. And we came up with this idea to reward everybody who's contributed by commissioning a dedication plaque. So once we hit that, it sort of unlocked that goal where everybody's name is going to, and this is going to travel around. This is sort of not only to do with Return to Moonbase Alpha, but the Eagle 6 build team and the set that we're going to use, as well as, of course, the 50th anniversary of the show. So we're honored to dedicate everybody who's been supportive, and your name will be affiliated with the Eagle 6 build forever and for all eternity, right, Darrell?
Yeah, it's looking that way, isn't it?
Well,
so
you forgot the people from this Alpha.
Yeah, really funny.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing. That's the other thing, because we were watching Catacombs today. Obviously, Command Center with her.
Yeah.
You know, and I remember, all the effort that went into that and everything.
Yeah.
And again, when we took it to Draker, that meet once a year, and the guys got excited, and we were still, again, there's a video, because we were still gluing things on the desk and like you do, So yeah. Little acorns.
Lots of fun. But our second stretch goal now, of course, I think everybody's fully aware. I mean, of course, in wanting to, as we've already discussed, we want to capture that look and that essence and that feel of the series, and that includes not only on the live action side but on the visual effects side.
But it's
So
also not that easy. I mean, when you look at them shots of Chris T, you know what he did at
yeah,
around building.
yeah,
You know, to make something look simple, usually it takes a lot of effort and hard work and
absolutely.
behind the scenes to do it.
Enormous talent. But that, of course, is our goal, is to not only hit the goal but to make it very, very special, incorporate original models and props like we've already discussed, but also just capture that lightning in a bottle essence of all the work that Brian Johnson, Nick Alder, Martin Bauer, Cyril. There's another fellow you see in a lot of the shots named Cyril. I can't remember his last name.
Cyril and his jumper. Yeah.
I think Cyril Foster, I think, is the name.
Yeah, Cyril Foster. Yeah.
I should remember that because actually Foster's my middle name.
I always look at them Bay shots and look at Cyril when Sylvia's giving she's with the wage packet with Brian and everything.
Yeah.
I cannot look at them shots without thinking, Cyril, put your best jumper on tomorrow. Right? There's somebody coming with a camera. And that's how it comes across to me. It's you know what I mean? He's in his beautiful jumper and it's But,
but listen, long story short, is that of course this is we're about halfway there on this stretch goal. We've still got a long way to go. We've seen some really nice progress the last week, but we are counting down. So we really only have 10 or 11 days to knock this out of the park. And of course, you know what, when we say original screen used props and you know what, there's a whole plethora of possibilities here, right? It might not be an eagle, right? But it might be a Moonbase building that you're going to see. It could be a radar tower. It might be a stun gun. You never know, right? There's lots of possibility. We've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people have been approaching us now, coming out of the woodwork, excited and wanting to take part. But we don't want to overpromise, underdeliver at the same time. So we're being very careful with the wording.
Yeah, it's like we said before. I mean, when we take any originals out on any shows, safety and respect for them originals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Respect is the best word.
Can things be done like they were done in the past with them? Yeah. Absolutely not. Reason why they're in people's private collections.
That's right.
And this is a little thing about Eagle One, because since Eagle One now, things have sort of got price tags attached to them. When we were doing shows before, it's the guys going out together, take these, what we're taking, who's bringing what. But now it's got to have that little bit more thought, because they are rare items now and they're getting rarer, and all them sorts of reasons. So, and we've discussed this before, something to do what you're trying to do. It's not a frivolous thing. It's got to be in the right hands, the right way. And the people that have shown interest, it sounds like it's going to be that way if we're very lucky. I remember being around Phil there, and a little one. I've done all these shows with all the guys all this time, and people have done this and I haven't. Andrew tells me off sometimes for not doing it, but I've never lifted a 44-inch eagle, because being a modeler and all the rest of it, it's I remember when Brian picked it up for the first time when we were at Cosford 1, and he just walked over and lifted it up in David's face. But when you realize he's done that a million times, but it's David's possession, and David had a lot of effort and time and energy to go into save that model.
Yes.
And the hours he put into it must have been immense. So they're collector's pieces these days more than that. So anybody that brings anything that wants to even put it in a shot or offers anything, in a way, I think I'm looking at it like with Radar Tower. If it's going to be done, and if my Radar Tower is needed, because don't forget it's got to be needed for what's happening and not just long for the sake of it, then of course I don't mind, because I know the people that's involved, what we spoke of, and I know everything will be respectfully done for the models, and that has to be paramount. But if you do get offers of models to go in to be filmed, in the segments like they were Bray type things, wow, what an achievement! That really,
It
just
would
that
be.
alone, what an achievement!
Yeah.
So can't really put that in any other words. It's, everything. They might even get the chance to bring a model along themselves and spend time with it while it's being filmed, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
But really, that's down to the people that own the models and personal choice. And but fingers crossed. You've got one or two bits, I know, and people are certainly thinking about what they could or couldn't do to add to. So I'm really, like I say, I know people we've talked to, and it has a wow. Yeah, you can't talk about it yet. I know and understand all that.
There's a lot going on in the background. Hey,
There's a
listen,
lot going on. There's a lot
I'm
going
not
on,
sure.
and I just think even if people are considering it, I think it's wonderful.
Yeah.
But to see any of them originals back on screen in some way, playing a small part, would be an achievement in itself. Just because the thing I'm reading into it is they're being filmed again. They're actually being filmed again. They're not in snapshots and they're not on exhibition, but they're actually what they were built for. There's a bit of what they were built for happening again.
Absolutely, they're part of the production.
I find that,
they're part of the family. Yeah, I love it.
That's a tick in my book. They're getting the moment again, what they were built for. So that's great.
Absolutely. And again, to use the word respect, I think is the most important thing here, Darrell. Everything is going to be done with loving care.
I had paratroopers in Scarborough sleeping under the tables at night.
I heard that story
too. Really did.
Yeah,
I had paratroopers under them tables 24/7 with them models. Well, we went out and just got some rest and had something to eat, type thing, because the models come first, And that's another thing about Manchester. Jason's opened his museum. Alpha's gone there with Jim and things like that. But again, when will you ever get the chance to see him again? And for people that love them and love the modeling side, you get so much out of them. You get to study them. You get to see how you try to understand how they went about building it. Again, like that Meccano, possibly, that ran this bed hotel. So you get that little insight into them. And it's they're brilliant. When you get amongst them and it's a bit hard taking in, that's it. That's what you see on screen. That's it. So it takes a bit, when you first see them, you've got to cross that bridge. But then when you start realizing how they were filmed, where they were filmed, and what they were made for, it might be a big section of an eagle leg or whatever. It can be anything. Yeah. But they were all built for purpose. So to see them, and Phil Ray saving them the way he did and all that.
Of course. Dear Phil Ray, for being the curator of these pieces all these years, but also making sure that they all found good homes as well, right? And
if I'm right, the story I've always remembered it as that when Phil with Alpha, if it's right, but I got told that it got 20 minutes to clear it off the board going into skip.
Yep.
And that's why he didn't get the launch pad.
And he raced over there. Yeah.
And basically they put this time frame on him for whatever reason. The guys know better than I do. I don't pretend to be an expert. No, they've done it 50 years. I've 25 years to catch up. But these are the guys that have, from day one have loved it, built it, understood it, tried to get their heads around it, and they're still doing it today. So, it's kudos to them,
No,
but
for
like
sure.
I said, Phil Ray we wouldn't really have a lot without Phil. You've got to mention Phil. If you mention Anderson, you've got to mention Phil.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, listen, Diane's chiming in. She says, sometimes if you talk to people, they mainly know of the Eagles, but not so much the program. But to me, it only works if you have all the parts to make good storylines, along with the models, the sets, the actors. 100%, Diane. Yes, this is, what, and I mean, kudos to those Eagle lovers out there and that entire community, because if it weren't for them, I don't think we'd be where we are today.
I understand, we do get that. My Eagle's bigger than your Eagle.
It's a big part, but it's not the only part. Yeah. Yeah.
No, but when you understand, and there's only one question to answer in that. When you look at the Eagle and understood what Brian created, I think it was a Maserati sports car with its framework and all this, that, and he put all them knowledge in. What he created there was something really iconic,
Yes.
and it is well up there.
Yes.
People still do, they might remember the Dinky Eagles and what colour they were and not
Yep.
white and all this sort of thing, but they remember the Eagle. But that's what we've always tried to do with All Sections Alpha. All Sections Alpha was about taking everything out that was alpha.
Yeah.
So we dipped our toe into sets. Guys were building this, understanding that, and even people with photographs, that were there. So it encompassed everything. That's what we tried to do with All Sections Alpha, because there is so much going on, and that's the other thing what I've said about the Eagle side, because they were down on L&M stages. We know a lot about what went on at Bay and the Eagles. We understand the models better, and Martin Bow and all them sort of things. But with the tradesmen at Pinewood, with the electricians, joiners that were doing all this wonderful work, we don't know a lot about them, and that's really why we're chasing the path of how did they make them sets, how did they build them, who did it, how long did they have, erecting time, taking down time, moving about time. And when you get around original sets, I remember Jim fetched, yes, we built Command Center replica and we took down and all wonderful and it looks great on camera, but Jim had the original Command Center. Now when you come to move that thing, wow, the weights, 3B2, 4B2, the old joiner sizes, you looked at it and you needed muscles, right?
Absolutely.
So it were built proper. So they must have needed vast, even moving eagle chairs. They must have needed teams, not just one or two, and the 6 in my department and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then again, they must have just had the letter set, because they met a letter set over everything. Somebody, they must have been going home dreaming letter set in the sleep, whoever putting that stuff on, but it was just everywhere. But we don't know a lot about them. And I think they deserve a bit of a flag wave, whoever they were. And the more we can find out about them, because it adds to the story. As we're being said, it's all the bits, it's all in bits. Yeah.
No, for sure. Sorry, I just had a call coming
No,
in.
it weren't me ringing you. I didn't do it. It weren't me.
Somebody else reaching out. Yeah. No, listen, real quick, our good friend Brian Jackson's out there saying hi, Warren and Darrell.
Hi, Brian.
And you were talking about those command center panels, and it's, of course, if Stephen Redder's still out there, I know for both Stephen and myself, our one of our prized possessions is owning an original command center panel. Yeah, and
Dallas as well. Dallas got one.
And Dallas got one. I know, and it's just, say what you will about the models, because Stephen was even chiming in and saying, I'd love to own one of the models. But to me, in my mind, to have a piece that was actually used on the set, right? And it's 1-to-1 scale. It's not a miniature. It's life size. It's just so remarkable.
When you go back to that photograph of the radio tower on the main building when Chris checking that, and you just said, oh, that was the original note, and I said it weren't.
Yeah.
Because I was doing all that, and at the time, Jim just presented me with this in front of the guys, and he said, that should live with you. And that's how I got the radar tower off Jim. He just said, that should be with you, right? And he's been a mate for life, and he will always be a mate for life. But to do something like that with something so special as well, so it's but it's I just hope Kickstarter aside, just looking at Manchester, because the guys always do the shows proud and always have, but please, this one is really about bringing the originals to the fore, and you've got to see them, get up close to as you can, and the guys that are there, and they'll tell you all about them and what, where, when, and how. backing that up, you'll have Chris Potter's wonderful display, his models he makes and his Eagle, and backing that up.
Mark
Then
Anthony Craig as well is bringing his little Moonbase
yeah, he's
diorama.
fetching all his miniature alphas and everything as
Yeah,
well, which
yeah,
are absolutely adorable, aren't they? They're
no,
wonderful things.
yeah,
And I can't wait to see them as well. And I
yeah.
noticed it's been posting up lately. So, but again, it all adds to a different show. It all adds to that.
Exactly. Like he's
Yeah,
never brought them out before.
mm,
So it's
yeah,
it's something new and different that's going to be really special for everybody to see.
yeah. And that little other element that's being added in this time. But that's down to you to make announcements. That's as things go along and progress. Uh, but that side, people, shush.
I know,
um,
I know.
yeah, but
It's very
just to have
exciting,
an
but
element,
we got
to that.
yeah,
Yeah, it's because you just get to see then what it was all about and what Jerry and Sylvia fetched to the screen for us, and again all the technicians and the builders and Ryan and Bay and everything,
yeah, yeah,
and Derek, and Derek and all that sort of thing.
yeah,
So yeah, it's we're just bringing a bit of element to that sort of thing along this time. Hopefully the guys are doing it proud. Yeah. Oh, and also some of the guys that there's guys coming this time that couldn't make London. And again, I'll let
yes.
you do the announcing, you know, but they are displaying this time. A lot of us guys thought they should have been here, you know. Uh, and the wonderful thing about those guys is they are coming this time. But when you're ready to announce them and when the time's right, and then people get to know who's going to be there and what they're doing and all that. So brilliant. But for me, yeah, people have got behind it. Thank you for what I do. Well, I'm just looking to model room and supporting you to help you get to it. But you've done things now. You know how it works. You don't need me to handle like I did. But yeah,
You know what
it's
though?
feeling up.
No word of a lie. I couldn't have done this without you and your family, Scotty, Nikki, Diane, everybody. The last 3 years have been my rock and my steadying third leg, right? With all things planning and coordinating, and what
I remember, and I mean, when we hadn't spoken much before, I met you at Peterborough, yeah, and Gordon
Yep,
and
yep,
people who came over. But when I got that he's putting a show on in London and lives in Canada, I mean, that alone, I thought, what? Really? And then you got the sentence that I give you that's not fit for purpose with everybody else listening, but it's, and I thought, well, and then he told me other things as well. And I thought, well, look, if I can't do anything else, there's certain things you've got to do, certain things you've got to nail, certain things you've got to, and that's where I thought I could help you. But yeah, yeah. But you even surprised me, let alone done with all them guests. And I'm
it's
in the know. I can't say I'm not. If you've got a problem, you ring me, and if I can help you solve it, we work through it, and them sorts of things.
yeah.
But it was no different. But again, the show that they're coming to this time, you, I can't say, and I'm dying to say, I know. Well, there's some great stuff coming this time. I know.
There is.
The guys, and I've talked to them, and there's even people that are not the guys, like you said, Mike Craig and all that wonderful stuff. Yeah, Dave Sterling's out there and he's trying to finish his spacesuit and all this wonderfulness. And what'll happen? What always happens? It'll all lead up to the day. Everybody will want to be there, and then they'll all come and have a great time, and then they'll all disappear. And then did that really happen? And
It'll
they'll
all
take
go
their
by
moments
so quick.
away.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said to you, get your piece out of it, because when you're in the background, when you're trying to do this, that, the other, you're not. Yes, of course you're enjoying the show, but you don't. You're at everybody's need.
Yeah.
So you might do this, but you're then called away. You might do that, you might get called away. You arrange something for 1 o'clock, and it might get 2 o'clock for somebody else's. So you've got to have that little bit of you enjoy that show because it took so much to put together. But yeah, but if that hotel and everything that we've seen and everything that I think it's going to be a little cool. I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I don't
Yeah.
know if you've seen this image in the last couple of days. I'm going to bring it up here, and I love this.
Yeah. 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 Didn't you say
See?
something about that's AI? Did you say that's AI?
Absolutely.
But
So
in a
you
good
know what?
way.
In full transparency, we even put a poster out saying, in the final product, of course, we're not going to use any AI for Return to Moonbase
Yeah,
Alpha.
well, no.
But
Yeah,
in,
and there
but
won't be. I
as
mean, we
far
all
as
know that.
as far as
Yeah.
promotions, absolutely, because it is such a time saver. I just took I did like 3 or 4
Yeah.
words as a prompt, and look what this thing came up with. It's remarkable. And even if you look really close, I love the way the image is even sort of stretched like on a round picture tube, as
Yeah,
you saw.
like it's on the, yeah, like the
I
word.
know. It's so
Yeah.
incredible, and there's a little reflection
And
there.
the flip side is, it's a very similar to Delhi that we were all watching the moon landings on.
I
It's,
know.
you know,
Yes, it's everything has come
them
full.
of the thoughts to tell is people had to get up to turn over,
I
and they had to
know.
get up and turn the
Yeah,
volume up, and some people had
so
to
much
get up
fun.
and put some money in because
Yeah,
they used to have a coin slot on some of them.
that's right. That's
So,
right.
yeah, but, yeah,
Oh, good
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Well, listen, I'm gonna share my screen now, and I haven't checked the Kickstarter in the last couple hours. But you want to do a live
Okay,
update together?
okay.
Sure. We'll share the screen, and then I'll also maybe just scroll through the site for anybody who hasn't been through it already, and it'll sort of jog my mind. We've had some very exciting changes, even to do with the reward tiers the
I
last
just
couple of
hope I
weeks.
haven't put people off. I hope I haven't put people off.
Oh
Don't worry.
God, no! Are you kidding me?
He's
Don't.
not going. If he's going, I'm not going. Yeah,
No way. All right.
yeah,
Well, let's get this going
yeah,
here.
yeah. Look at that.
$45,104. Now that's Canadian, of course.
What's
And
that equate to?
I'll just do a quick refresh.
What was the total, wasn't it?
Okay, 45. Yeah, 45,104. So this is just put us over top our 300%. So that's as of today. And so what I'll do here, I'll make this.
4,500 in US. Did you say?
So this is about 30.
34.
This is about 32.5 in US.
Okay.
Right about, and so the unlocking is at 40,000, so we're about 8,000 away US. This is also about 24,000 in pound sterling.
Okay.
And our goal in when you convert 40,000 US to pound sterling, that's about 30,000 pound sterling, so we're about 6,000 away in pound sterling.
And you've 10 days to go, did you say?
10 days. Yeah, 10 days.
Okay.
So, yeah, no, for anybody who hasn't been there, we just updated this today. We put a little extra blurb at the top of our story about that 40,000 unlocking.
You know, I'm trying to keep up with you on the Kickstarter side. I'm seeing what you're showing, but that's wonderful, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, that's amazing.
Beautiful.
That's got to be thanks to everybody doing that, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yep. So you can see all of our rewards here. Our most popular one is featured at the top here, a full digital package for 400. So this will give you a digital download, a ticket to the premiere party, your name listed in the credits as a contributor or backer, plus our exclusive convention booklet. This is something we've put out the last couple of years in a row after our live events. And it's really a beautiful piece, over 200, closer to 300 pages. With the
I need to get one when I didn't get one.
I'll send it to you for sure. There's been 2 now, one for London, one for LA. We're going to do the ultimate one this year, incorporating Manchester and of course incorporating Return to Moonbase Alpha. So that's something that everybody's going to be looking forward to. Of course, digital download is one of our most popular tiers for only $35 Canadian. And then some of them are enhanced, meaning that you can also add some extras and add-ons when the campaign ends, and you can pick up posters, t-shirts, travel mugs, things like that. So we got a few different size posters here at different prices, and then you get into Yeah,
Oh,
and here's a
okay.
real popular one the last week. So this 24 by 36 poster actually includes, because the standalone tiers expired yesterday, these also incorporate the new breakaway edits that we did for London, the work print and the theatrical version.
Right.
Of,
Okay. Yeah.
of,
Yeah. Yeah.
of yeah, been really, really popular. A lot of people are excited about those. So it's still available as part of the poster tier. And yeah, premiere ticket again. Return to Moonbase Alpha t-shirts. And there's the convention booklet. And of course, we have some
Wow.
autographs. So you can pick up a photo of Nick Tate, Catherine Schell, and of course, the lovely Yasuko Nagazumi and Anton Phillips with some autographed tiers. Return to Moonbase Alpha hoodie. Are you guys still seeing this as I'm scrolling?
Yeah. Yeah. We
Okay.
are.
Perfect.
It's
Perfect.
small for us, but we're keeping up.
Yeah. Yeah, and then your name listed as a backer for only $250 Canadian. So do some math there. That's a very reasonably priced tier right there to get your name in the spotlight as part of a contributor. This,
Like I said, well, in
yeah,
one way, if you want me to have a point of view on it,
sure,
that yeah, I mean, it has a positive chance and it has a good chance, and the guys I've spoke to, yeah, if it's not done, it might never get done. So I don't know, is it a one-off chance or not? It'd be interesting to see how it pans out, but I can't thank everybody enough that is backing that, because to see new imagery, and if people are lending originalists to join in with it, yeah, I think that's as good as it gets, really.
absolutely, yeah.
If it's as long as it's done properly and respectfully, and and like you say, you're trying to match up, aren't you, to everything that we're seeing in the originals. It's yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a wonderful thing, but get behind it if you want to see it. That's all I can say. If people want to see that and it can be done, and everything comes off with the way everyone's hoping, yeah, it'll be a superb thing, won't it? Be a superb thing.
No,
So
100%, 100%.
yeah.
So we have some higher ticket tiers as well. Some virtual
Okay.
calls with Catherine and Nick. This was a fun one we added just this week, and we actually dropped the price of it. So this serves more of as a standalone tier. A lot of the tiers, as you go up in price, the reason for that is because it includes the lower end tiers, right? So it gives perhaps
Right,
better
okay.
value. But the problem was, because most people had already got those digital tiers, right, the first couple weeks. So what we did is we made this Nick Tate Breakaway Day breakfast more of a standalone tier. So if you've already contributed,
Right.
you can pick this up on its own. Well, that's another funny story, because this is my first kick of the cat for Kickstarter, and there's a lot of limitations I've found out that I would do differently a second time out, because you can actually only subscribe to one tier. So a lot of these things, as we've announced new tiers, people have been saying that I wish I could get that, but Kickstarter won't let me. But just rest assured, everybody out there, I'm going to try and list all of these items and tiers as separate add-ons after the campaign. So whatever you pledge to, when you get to the checkout point, you will be able to see all of these extras, and you can select them individually, sort of a la carte, and add them.
So you can tailor it to yourself.
Exactly. And I just have to say thanks to everybody for your patience and understanding. I know there's been a few kinks we've had to iron out. I think we're doing okay. There's full cast autographs as well. And then we get into, these are fun. These are actually IMDb credits. And if anybody out there
in the movie database.
Yes. So these are very sought after in the industry. And so you'd actually be listed as either associate producer with the affiliated credit, producer credit. Oh, we have an original shooting script as well listed. This is.
I saw that. I saw the original script this morning.
Right.
I think it was this morning. I saw it today.
Yeah. So Lambda Factor, but look at everything. It includes 12 other items. So all the digital tiers, as well as all the autograph tiers, are also included in this original shooting script here. And yeah, this was a big one as well. So this will give you actually access to take part in the filming of Return to Moonbase Alpha in September. So this will give you full onset access, sort of a behind the scenes pass for the day that we're filming in Manchester. Tentatively, it's probably going to be, I think I've listed it here that to be the Thursday, but it's probably going to be the Friday. But I wanted to let everybody know who is interested in this to try and be there for the Thursday just in case. And yeah, a very, very fun one. And then, of course, some executive producer credits as well. So that's about it. So some really nice options, some fun options there for everybody. And we hope you'll take the time to check that all out and give us a.
Looks like everything's going well, doesn't it?
Oh, it's wonderful. I've learned so much, Darrell, and it's really amazing, you know, in this day and age where
you didn't have anything like this at London, did you?
No, no, like even like 15 years ago, like you know, for creative people with ideas, this Kickstarter platform is pretty amazing because, you know, it's essentially that you're doing your own self-funding, right? And it's all about your idea. Right. If you have you know, it might be a comic or a graphic novel that you want to launch, or a video game. Video games are very huge on Kickstarter. And it's all about that idea. If you got a really good one, people will back it and support it. And of course, they're getting something as well. Yeah. So there's that.
I gave time on Thunderbird 65.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that was Kickstarter as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Oh, there we are. I was messing around there. I was trying to bring us back there. We got it figured. Yeah. Well, no. Well,
I think, what are we away from the show? 21 weeks. Is it 20 weeks?
Don't remind me.
I mean, you know, the effort we put into London, you know, that year just became a blur.
I know.
I don't really remember much about that year. It was just a blur.
And it was, you know, with that, we joke about it now, but that last minute hotel change, you know, it all came together, but that created for me some sleepless nights because I had to get up in the middle of the night in order to start calling over to the UK looking for a new hotel.
I think we spoke once or twice at 4 a.m.
Yeah,
well, I think we did. When I've done shows in the past, you know, I've done that a few times with people. It used to annoy me because in the past they used to call me Dad. You know,
okay,
Dad.
Yeah.
Who's Dad? Right, and then it twigged, and it's me, Donovan. Go see Dad. You know. Yeah.
Oh,
and then calling me an England manager, which but we won't go into that. You know. I favoured an England manager.
Brian Jackson saying September will be amazing at Space 1999, getting bigger and bigger every year, 50 years strong. Absolutely, Brian. Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself.
Quite right, Brian. Quite right, because it's what we love, isn't it? And if it goes and dies away, then we all lose out. It's we know it's wonderful. We just have to keep trying to convince everybody else how wonderful it was, and we just got to keep doing that, haven't we? You know, but it is so special. It's you know, from everything that we're involved with, really, it's so special. You know, silly things like Rudy Germite, you know, and Alpha Design and Sylvia, and you know, every element. You know, it sort of all did that, and then the cogs got together and it worked, didn't it? You know, it's yeah.
I'm just typing a note out here in the chat for everybody.
Okay.
And it'll come up here right away.
It says, if you ever see Devil in the street, don't speak to him. Please avoid at all costs.
Just because I think, here it is. Just because I think, Scotty, your dad and myself just talk way too much.
Yeah, we do. See you again then. Bye.
Thank you, Scotty. Thank you so much for taking part. It's always a pleasure to see you, my friend, and chat with you.
What a little bit don't know is he also suffered an hernia.
Recently, yeah.
We don't even know how. We think we're moving some strawberry tubs. But he had a 28 emergency operation, but it was 28 weeks wait. But they did him wonderfully, and is a week or two now in it since it was done, and he's strength to strength and recovering well.
Feeling better. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so he's done brilliantly. I can't be more proud of him. He's, because the flip side to that is we're very lucky because Diane's next nurse, I'm an ex butcher, and the way we live our life, we eat everything fresh and that sort of thing. We've, apart from conditions, we very rarely see a GP. So Scott really hasn't been in around an hospital. I've been in one, so I didn't know which way we're going to go or whatever. But flying colours. He's come out of it with flying colours, and everything. Oh yeah. So we're getting back on top. So he should be
Yeah.
in fine fettle by Manchester, and yeah, yeah. And thank you for everybody loving him like you do. It's thank you.
Absolutely. You're such a an integral part of the family, my friend Scott. And
Oh, he's a star. He's a star. Sky is blue, grass is green, and the world is wonderful. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what this is all
Okay.
about. And Darrell, sorry to hear about your brother as well, boy. And this has really been a time for us all these last few years.
A bit quicker than people expected, and in a different way at the end type thing that nobody expected, and so but it's we can't do anything about it. Life is life, and that's how we carry on, don't we? We have to get up the following morning and have our cornflakes. That's it. That's So we miss him dearly, and I'm one of five, so there's the three girls now. I'm the only lad now. So yeah. So, but thanks for that, mate. But same to you, and well done this week, buddy. And keep the smiles on. All you can do is keep the smiles on.
Thank you. And I think on this note, I mean, I would like to thank you both immensely for taking part in our chat today, and teasing us a little bit as to some of the fun and interesting things that are going to be happening. But listen,
I'm sorry for all the disappointment I've caused.
Oh, are you kidding me? Come on.
Because we always go off on tangents. We go off on tangents.
Of course, that's what it's all about. I knew we were going to do that. Yeah. But no, this has been terrific. There's been really, really lots of fun comments rolling in, and appreciate everybody tuning in today.
As long as people have enjoyed.
Yeah, no, 100%. And listen, what I would like to do, because it has been such a week for me. I have been doing very, very well, my entire family, and I also did record a little segment the other night. I didn't tie it into anything to do.
Was that the Barry Morse one?
Yes, and so I'd just like to run it again at the end of this show if I could. This was something very near and dear to me, and like my dear mother was all my life so supportive of my love for all things science fiction and Space 1999 in particular. So this was something that I recall this like it was yesterday in my mind, and this newspaper article came out in Canada, and it was regarding Barry Morse. And so I'd just like to run that little video if I could at the end of our show today, just to cap things off and say thank you very much for all your warm thoughts, words, and wishes this week. It really means a lot to both myself and my entire family, and including Sister Heather and everybody involved, and just the support has been overwhelming. So I'll end on that note, and then beyond that,
please give our best wishes to your family.
Absolutely. Thank you again.
Yes. Met your dad and I met your sister.
Yeah.
So please send our best wishes to them. And, I'm sure
100%. Thank you again, my friends, my dear friends, and you have. We will talk to you this week. You have a good evening. Okay.
Yeah. Take care, my friend.
All right. We'll see you soon. And here's that special video.
Thank you.
Good evening. Welcome to this special segment. I'd like to read to you tonight a newspaper article from 50 years ago. This was picked up by several Canadian and US-based syndication services. It proceeds as follows. Somewhere, someone is plotting the untimely demise of Professor Victor Bergman. But it's all pretty much a joke to Barry Morse, the English-born actor who originated the character of Professor Bergman on last season's successful Space 1999 television series. Morse, a former artistic director of the Shaw Festival, and back here this summer as both director and actor, said that even extravagant sums of money couldn't persuade him to continue making the popular science fiction series. I told the producers I'd like to go and play with the grown-ups for a while. I did promise that I would do a few more episodes sometime just to explain whatever the writers consider ought to be the character's exit, dropping off the back of the moon perhaps. Even a rusted aorta might be a possibility, the actor laughingly agreed. The series, in which Morse received third billing after husband and wife stars Martin Landau and Barbara Bain, is set on the moon. In the initial episode, an explosion of nuclear waste stored on the moon blasted the satellite and its colony of scientists and astronauts out of Earth orbit. The moon and its inhabitants have been traveling ever since, although the series title refers only to the date of the start of the moon's intergalactic voyage. Professor Bergman is the colony's chief scientist, and his most distinguishing characteristic is that he has a mechanical heart. Morse said he wanted to give the character a little bit of originality, but the producers are so scared of that sort of thing, he says. The characters in the show were also plastic and one-dimensional. There's something kind of Barbie doll about the whole thing. The 57-year-old Morse also has been a regular in 3 other TV series, including the now classic The Fugitive. In that series, Morse played Detective Lieutenant Gerard, who pursued the title character of David Jansen throughout 4 very profitable seasons. His other shows were the short-lived The Adventurer with Gene Barry and The Zoo Gang with Brian Keith, John Mills, and Lily Palmer. The latter, in which Morse was a Canadian Second World War veteran, was really only a mini-series, and Morse is hopeful that the cast may get together again to do a few more episodes. The series is based on the late Paul Galileo's novel about a present-day reunion of wartime comrades and their involvement in perilous adventures. What Morse recalls with particular satisfaction about his series and his body of work is that each offered him a role distinct from any other. But the whole profession of acting seems less satisfying to Morse today than it did when, at age 15, he actually became the youngest student to enter the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art in London. In fact, he says he's seriously thinking about giving it up in a few months, perhaps. 40-odd years is quite long enough to go around pulling faces for a living, he says. I don't happen to think that our trade as a whole is all that desperately significant. He feels he might have used his natural talents in ways that were more genuinely creative in human terms had he made a career in politics or education. But he adds he really has no regrets. It's just that there are other things I feel I could do, and I may do so yet. In particular, writing plays appeals to him. I'm very much encouraged by the realization that all of the best plays are written by actors or by people of strong histrionic temperament. At this year's Shaw Festival, he plays Sir George Crofts in Shaw's Mrs. Warren's Profession and has directed the season's production of James Barnes' The Admirable Crichton. But apart from all the obligatory character-eliminating episode or episodes of Space 1999, after the festival ends, he has really no commitments at all. And it's marvelous, he says. That's the best kind of luxury, when you're able to say, don't call me, I'll call you. This was the very article that was read to me by my mother 50 years ago when I was 5 years old. We will miss you, Mom. Thank you for everything. And thank you for supporting my love and passion for all things Space 1999.